Hey-o!
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome
We're back.
to Filmography.
We're back.
Yeah. Trying to get real high energy to be like, and it's time to talk about Detroit.
You guys want to talk about some race riots?
It is just about the most wrenching film, wrenching events we could possibly talk about. Howdy, guys. Just gonna even things out here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, hi everybody. Saludos, motherfuckers.
Hello. I'm back.
Oh man. Yeah.
I watched this You just finished.
I just finished this.
I watched it last night.
Yeah.
This was a doozy.
Yeah, man.
I'm curious. We haven't really talked about it. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
I have thoughts on it.
I'm still processing.
Yeah.
So hey, we're just gonna jump right in on this, I guess, because I don't know. That's kind of what we've been doing in the past year. So it's 1967.
67, 68, something like that. Yeah.
Here,
I thought it was 68, but
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it's just crazy how this movie just jumps right into it.
And that's like after having what? By the way, so we've seen now what, like 8 movies? I don't know. I want to say like 7 movies by Kathryn Bigelow. We watched this has been a super month.
And I watched K-19 on my own the other night while I was in a hotel room, and I was like, pretty good movie.
Yeah, rock and roll. Because we've watched, let's see, we did Near Dark. We did Point Break. We did, okay, in chronological, let's see, Near Dark, Blue Steel, Point Break, Strange Days, Hurt Locker, did Weight of Water. and Detroit. 7 movies.
That's crazy.
7 movies. And man, Kathryn Bigelow is a fascinating filmmaker. I don't know how many there aren't. I don't think a lot of filmmakers that will stand up to the. We're going to pick 7 of your movies at random, like throw a dart at a spinning wheel.
It's wild
and
to me
watch
that
them.
This is the director we
watch
chose
them back
to
back.
We chose to double dip on. Yeah. But it has been enlightening in a lot of ways because my feelings have gone. It's been a roller coaster. My feelings have gone up and down because I was like, I came into it being like, she's a great director, and then we hit a couple rough spot, and I was like, am I about to walk away from this not liking her as much as I did initially, which has never happened?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's all like even her bonkers stuff. It's all very well directed. This is very well directed. I'll be very interested to talk about it.
It is very well directed.
Another tedious meditation in the long running white guilt, the movie series. Am I right?
I
Jeff?
mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, I did a music video very similar to this, and then that's what some of my family members said to me. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So you're in the club though.
Yeah. So
we're all in the club.
But I will
half of me is in the club.
I will say, having done a music video about this very subject, that's kind of one of the issues I have with this movie. In that I feel like I did at least justifying some behavior and understanding where it comes from. I felt like I did a better job.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
I guess that's an egotistical thing.
No, it's not.
But
it's not.
one of it's just this movie's mean, and it needs to be mean.
Yes.
But then it's well, should we just get into it?
Yeah. Okay. So let's dissect. Let's dissect Kathryn Bigelow's Detroit, led by a director who's better than Kathryn Bigelow.
Here we go.
No,
which is how I want to be introduced whenever I walk into a room from here on out.
And now a director who is superior to Kathryn Bigelow, Jeff Ray. I think that's great. I think just like out of context, you just go.
And then I bring in a cardboard cutout of Kathryn Bigelow and I punch it.
Yeah, and you go, yeah. Boy. So well, yeah. And here, I'm glad I wanted to talk to you about this. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I mean that's why I come over.
That's what we do. But I specifically was like I specifically wanted to talk to you about it because we do the show together.
Yeah.
But also because you did make that video, and I wonder.
I was curious to watch this because I had never seen it, and then
it was about what you thought. You were like,
well, I mean,
I'm sorry, no, I'm sick.
I was curious because, like, I mean, and you were in it, like we. So,
that's true. I was a racist cop.
Yeah. So it was very much a thing where
thanks, Lucas.
I was very curious to see. Because, I mean, it's literally, like, I think I used Baltimore as our template.
Oh, yeah.
But this is all going on at the same...
Baltimore.
It's all, like, but I visually, like, reference-wise, I pulled a ton of photos from Detroit.
Yeah.
Because I think I used Baltimore because Baltimore was going on currently.
Sorry, the current... Yeah, like, but then you were...
Well, but it happened in Baltimore back then, too. And then it was happening again in Baltimore, so we used Baltimore as the template.
This is why, boy, to my shame, I was like, oh yeah, it was Baltimore. It was in it. I didn't remember.
Yeah.
But this is why I want to talk to you because I was like, because you did research. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, or I don't know, maybe, or like you. Like,
I did
got
a lot,
some background stuff, and so, but that was Baltimore, not Detroit, so never mind.
Well, but I mean, I kind of covered that entire area. I mean, I didn't do like a deep dive, probably as much as she did on Detroit City, but like it, you know. I felt like on a visual level, it fucking crushed it. Like, and the way you get, I don't know, it's interesting because, like, you just get thrown into it, which was an interesting way to just go. Mm-hmm. But I also think I had issues with that, maybe.
Well, they do have that, like, kind of animated intro. Do you remember that?
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. I thought, I was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, this is a preview.
And then I was like, oh, this is about the movie? And I was like, that's an interesting way of doing that. I would have maybe just given the style of the movie, it felt like just some photos with that text would have been more in line.
Instead of like a...
It was weird. It was beautiful.
It did throw me a bit.
It did. It threw me.
And I don't want to like... Because I actually want to go back and look at it. I wonder if we could find it on YouTube. Because it... what was interesting and what makes me want to look... Because again, I just finished watching it. I watched part of it last night and part of it now, which is a terrible way to do anything. But
I'm really new here. I have no idea what is going on, but I'm following. So this is filmography.
Yes. Hey, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following.
And we discuss movies on here. We watch a movie prior to the stream.
Yeah.
And then we talk about it.
That's how it goes.
And that's how it goes. We do it once a week.
Filmography.
Every Mondays, Tuesdays, or Wednesdays, or whatever day we decide.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Just figure it out. The reason we call it filmography is we generally kind of try to. The main template for it is that we stick with the filmography of one director. For the past 7 months, it's been Kathryn Bigelow. For the past month, and then it turned into kind of like a super month. It was like a month and a half.
It's been about most of 2019 has been based around Kathryn Bigelow.
Fair point. We've done 7 films by Kathryn Bigelow. We usually do 4, and this is the final and most recent. And then we're going to move on to something else for October, which is going to be scary movies, so it's going to not quite follow the filmography pattern. Anyway, you've probably left by now. But thanks for being here. So they fuck around, don't watch movies.
I can't remember the last time we haven't watched a movie that wasn't Bigelow.
Yo! That dude is British? Are you talking about the main... Because I know I've seen him somewhere. I feel like I've seen him as a child actor somewhere. That Will Poulter, he's the kind of like...
What? He's British?
He's British? That's crazy. That's the best.
Oh, and he was in the Carrie Fukushima. Yeah.
Fukushima? Is that on purpose? Fukunaga?
Yeah, that would have been cool. I really...
That dude is British?
I loved...
Fuck
That's
them.
Crazy.
Oh, they're so good.
He's very good, because he's in The Revenant, and he just started popping up kind of a couple of years
ago. That
dude
is a really good actor.
And this made me... I mean...
Makes your skin crawl, baby.
He's so... good at this, and so natural. I liked all of.
I can't believe he's British.
And what's crazy is him.
I can't believe that's a put on accent at all.
I feel like who directed Hereditary?
Ari Aster.
Ari Aster watched this and he was like, "Cool." Him and then the third guy, because they're both
Will Poulter,
and then the third guy,
Summer.
Not the second lead cop, but the third lead cop who accidentally shoots a guy.
Oh, I remember him from the trailer now. Yeah.
They're both in Midsommar.
Not Chris Pratt.
Not Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Not Chris Pratt.
That takes some balls because it definitely, it's like, There's a template. There's a developing template now, or kind of like a.
He's about to write a Civil War letter back to my dearest about how the Bigelow slog continues.
Yeah, the battle for the gorge continues. Kathryn Bigelow continues to rain down destruction on our forces. You hold the camera on our general splitting.
Yeah, that's what she would
you guys
do.
You guys are the greatest audience of all time. I love you guys. Some of the movie doesn't say something about how they're. Yes, so that kind of threw me at first, because the first time he does something really racist or really violent, I was like, what? And I like turned to my wife, who at the time was watching the movie with me, and I was like, I didn't need to specify that, but she didn't watch.
Flex, man.
She watched.
You got a wife. We're all real impressed.
That's where I was going with it. It's like, by the way, my wife. I can get a wife. No, I don't know what's happening. Yeah. So yeah. No, I was like, wasn't he the dude who was like, we're failing them? And she was like, yeah. And then I immediately in my brain was like, oh, I know what he means. And then she explained what it means, but I got it.
What did he mean?
Well, that she's like, I think he means like they're failing them. And I agreed. They're failing the people by not stopping the crime.
Oh, gotcha.
But he also...
I think I missed that line.
Well, early when they're driving, and it's not exactly clear. I popped on subtitles really early on.
Yeah, this one, it has such a handheld look to it. I tried it, and I was just like, I'm going to miss so much visual stuff. Yeah. It's such a visceral thing. I was like, I'm turning this off.
Sure. But yeah, he does initially, he's driving away, and he's like... he's saying something like, he goes, it's our fault. This is our fault.
Gotcha.
We're failing them. And I think that is front loaded there for you to kind of go, okay, that's his motivation, is law and order. Like, that's the only reason that they're putting it there.
Yeah, I mean that's how he justifies it on a moral level, but that's not what's his driving force.
Sure.
His driving force is that he's a monstrous racist of like incalculable proportions.
Yeah.
Which is something I kind of want to talk about because I have this. Well, should we set it up more? Because it's really about the Algiers. Like,
yeah, so it's right. So there's what they set up. I kind of want
to. The movie starts and it just goes, and
it
like
does,
all of a
like
sudden
all Bigelow.
you're in the Detroit City race riot. Like you see the how it initially started by breaking up a
like an after hours music club that didn't have a liquor license.
That didn't have a liquor license. It was being held in a printing shop.
Yeah.
And then immediately we're just in it.
And basically what they're saying, like, and they open. There's this opening, not crawl, but it's like this. I really want to find it. I put in Detroit opening, and of course the first stuff that comes up is the opening to Detroit Become Human, which is not going to help.
Yeah. I have to say that opening, I don't think that was the right move.
It's interesting.
They could have had the same text with historical photographs, which they used historical footage throughout the movie.
Yes,
and it would have been.
Did, yeah.
It was so much visual stuff was going on that I couldn't read the subtitles quickly enough, and therefore neither thing, because it's the first thing you see.
It is,
and so neither thing registered on the level that it needed to. I felt like.
Well, and it's so. Like, and there's something, what I appreciated about it was that it gave, here, I'll link it. What I appreciated about it was that it gave this like historical context. It starts with the Great Migration, and it talks about what's happened and what's kind of led to this point in a very like bullet point way. And so it kind of does both things.
I wish they just would have done the exact same thing. Exact same
with
subtitles with historical photographs.
Totally.
And I think it would have registered and just slow it down a little bit because it was moving so fast.
Oh, Jeff didn't like the opening. The tables are turned. Well, I didn't like I mean, I didn't just. Well, yeah, it's weird because stylistically, it's so very different from the rest of the film. It's odd. This is going to sound dismissive, and I don't mean to, but it reminded me of it's like the pre-roll at like a Disney ride or something. It's like this kind of, it's almost like a storybook, and
I just thought maybe there's some historical. They were going for some type of cultural mural like look.
Oh, that's
and I really expected a mural to come up.
That's what that is.
Halfway into the to the movie, like
which would have been great
in the background or something.
That would have
been
great.
What I mean?
That would have been great.
Like just linger on it for a moment, like as fires in the
And that would have been actually really impactful.
It would,
because then you would have gone, oh, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So the Great Migration set, and the other thing is I didn't get to take it in. Really, the visuals of it because I was reading.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's so busy. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so busy though. Like either do voiceover with it.
Yeah.
Which would have been great.
Yeah. This is the Great Migration. So the first title card or whatever. The Great Migration set in motion before World War I, which spurred some 6 million African Americans to leave the cotton fields of the South for the lure of factory jobs and civil rights in the North. Like by itself as like a little short film works great.
Yeah.
Works wonderfully.
It's too
But I said the first
it's fantastic. It's too visually interesting. Subtitles though.
And for the first 30 seconds I'm going, am I watching the right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need to pay attention to this yet. This is the this is a commercial. And I go, oh, wait, no, it's not. After World War II, white Americans began their own migration to the suburbs. So basically, we're talking about drawing money and jobs away from increasingly segregated urban neighborhoods. So migration of African Americans, there's the so-called white flight, right? Where they're trying to get away from there goes the neighborhood stereotype kind of thing, where they're like, and so they leave, and because they leave, a lot of jobs and opportunities and kind of like sort of fiscal economic development sort of focus leaves with them. It's kind of like that. It's just kind of like it's kind of like gentrification when you get a bunch of white people that move in to a community that's been for decades minorities. As soon as the white people move in, they start kind of like fixing it up. Yeah. And doing what end they kick everyone out and just so it's the opposite of that. By the 60s, racial tensions had reached a boiling point. Rebellions erupted in Harlem, Philadelphia, Watts, and Newark. In Detroit, African Americans were restricted to a few overcrowded neighborhoods, patrolled by a mostly white police force known for its aggression. I think we're almost done here. The promise of equal opportunity for all turned out to be an illusion. And then change was inevitable. And I think we immediately go into like an over-the-shoulder, shaky cam documentary style. It was only a matter of, okay, we don't... how and when. Yeah. Okay. And...
it's just I keep thinking about how JFK opens.
Gosh, I can't remember.
And JFK opens
with historical photographs.
Historical. Yeah. It's a collage of historical photographs, historical footage, reenactments. The whole 9 yards. Yeah. All seamlessly edited together with voiceover from Martin Sheen, who is not even in the movie.
Right?
And it works beautifully to set up just the world and some of the social and political conflict that is happening. Yeah. And then you just go. Yeah. And that movie is crazy, and crazy complicated and dense. But I felt like something like that would have given us a little more grounded. We would have had our footing a little more firm when we get to the live action stuff right out.
Sure, and it just seems like because it
would have just visually fit a little bit more.
Yeah, and tonally, it's well. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is. I think it says something that I was like, oh, remember that pre-roll, and you were like, oh yeah, like, and it shocked me to remember it too. I was like, oh right, there's that thing. Yeah, that just feels completely separate. Yeah, and you just kind of go, okay. But so that's it. So they're basically setting up this situation. The 60s were a tumultuous time in the United States. I don't know if you've ever heard that. And
then it goes right into it, and it's like the first 20 minutes just kind of focus on really just the chaos of how it starts, and then the first 3 days. Yeah. And it shows a lot of looting and a lot of just it doesn't even really focus on any one character yet. For the first hour, or no, first 30 minutes,
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and because the beginning of it is this sort of raid. I mean, not sort of raid; it's a raid on this after hours kind of
speakeasy type.
Basically,
thing.
Yeah, like Sub Rosa kind of sort of secret music club, and everyone's just kind of having a good time and dancing and drinking, and a dude comes in, an African American police officer comes in, kind of busts like the place up. Yeah. Grabs one dude. Yeah, he's like everybody blah 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 blah, and the one guy goes like, you smell like pig juice, and he's like, what's that? And he
French connections him.
Yeah,
which he throws him into
did you see this coming
room.
By the way?
No.
Okay. Because I was like,
I didn't see it coming.
Something about it, and then I asked Akasha. She said she didn't either. So I was like, okay, so it wasn't. I'm just a genius. No, but I was trying. I kind of was trying. I was like, there was something about that tipped me off, and I didn't rewind to put my finger on it necessarily. And I just was wondering if that was a thing. But something about the way I was like, oh, this is going to be.
You're that guy in the theater. It's like that guy's that guy's an informant.
Yeah. Well, I knew they threw him against the wall, and he's going to be like, come on, Steve, or whatever. And then sure enough, he did, because I'm awesome.
No, it surprised me. And
well, it was cool.
And it was cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's at that thing, and he's like, and he pulls the guy in there. He's like, blah, and then he goes to the thing where he like beats on the wall, and he's like, wow, which is interesting. And in retrospect, I wonder why they went into such detail in this scene. Like, why do they give us all this?
Because
they give us the factual.
How it starts.
Okay.
It's just how it starts.
Sure.
But given how quickly we move right into the riot stuff, and given that there was already a little bit of a prologue, it's kind of like...
It's another thing that I forget happened.
Yeah.
Like entirely.
Because there's none of your character... It's crazy how you think this movie is going to be all about like a citywide thing, and then it goes to the Algiers hotel, and you're just there for the whole movie.
Which was interesting to me in a number of ways, because and I'm getting ahead of myself, but like I feel like because remember we talked about it, I was like, I'm interested in the way that she approaches this. I'm interested to see how she tells this story. You got a hair. Wow. Okay, cool. All right.
Got it?
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. It's filmography. We were always scared of it. It's like, oh, that's just a part of your body.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a mole.
No, so like, yeah, because I was like, oh, here's this, like, we talked about how Strange Days deals with racially motivated police violence, eventually.
Right.
And so we're like, oh, cool. So here's her chance to do that. I wonder what she's going to do with it. And I know that the historical facts, what there are of them, kind of just lend themselves to the way this movie plays out, obviously. But it becomes this one location after many, many locations.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's like a one location movie. You could have done this kind of cheap.
Yeah.
But you certainly didn't.
Yeah, right.
Because they built a flaming Detroit set or whatever.
It's very impressive.
It is incredible. There are moments where like, and
they interweave that stock footage so seamlessly that and the photography of the actual film is like my favorite kind, because it's got that kind of like grainy 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's hyper polished, but it's really gritty at the same time, and I'm like, oh, that's the best.
It really is, and they're I mean, very much to the credit of everyone involved. Like, there are moments during that opening thing where you're watching it, or I'm watching it, and I kind of go, and I just, like, it struck me because there's like characters are doing something. I look, and there's like a flaming city block behind them, and I go, and that snapped me out of it for a second. I go, good, how?
Yeah.
What on earth? This is crazy.
It was really interesting.
But then my brain just turned right back off, and I go, and it just was like, nah, man, they just filmed in the Detroit race, right? It's like, that's like,
and that's what was very, and that's why that opening 20 doesn't feel wasted to me, because you really get in, like, because it has this documentary format, and because the scale of the movie is so large, it's like, but they're using that documentary format. It's literally everywhere they turn their camera, it's just like,
oh
Jesus,
gosh,
they really are there.
It really.
And so when they get to the Algiers, and then they try like when two of them try to escape at one point, and then they just realize they're just surrounded by.
Of course,
it's just war everywhere you look.
And I thought of that too when like they were like, you can run, and I was like, you can't. What are you gonna do to get stopped and murdered? Because every place is just as bad as. Well, I mean, no, but like almost as bad as where you are. Mm-hmm. And like, the camera just like pans around, and it's like the opening of the Terminator. It's just it's just like it's just shit on fire everywhere. But what I was going to say is that when it eventually kind of streamlines down and becomes this sort of one location, and then goes for another 40 minutes after that whole thing. So I was like, okay, it plays, it plays like a horror movie.
It does, especially again when they try to escape. I was
Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something.
It felt exactly like a horror movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and which like I don't think. I mean,
which I
it just has elements of it. I mean, and I think it was on purpose.
On purpose, very effective, and I was just like, that's the scariest thing because it's not only something that has happened, but continues to happen.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was very effective, and I thought that was a very good choice.
It is, and I like, but it's so subtle almost that they're almost there. Like it's definitely on purpose. It's definitely purposeful, I think. But they do it subtly enough that it's kind of like, oh, is this just like you like my brain makes that connection, and then I go, they're not really leaning into it that much.
No.
And then they did it just the right way, because then your brain goes, what makes me feel like this is a horror movie is that this has all the elements of a horror movie.
Yeah. And you're like, but this is a factual incident
and this is
that
just
really happened.
I mean, and it's very kind of like, man. But so again, I said I got ahead of myself because if you haven't seen it, you don't know exactly what we're talking about yet, probably, unless you are familiar with the history, which that would be, I wish I had been more familiar. Yeah. But so we get this thing. We've got this speakeasy raid.
And it's
they load everyone into. They make a point of like, oh, we're gonna have to take them out the front, and the guy's like, in public.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, it's just got to be that way. And they take them out. They load them into like the paddy wagons, and the community comes out.
And it gets increasingly more and more tense.
And they're like, come on, man, they weren't doing anything. They're just having a good time. Why do you always come to our neighborhood? Mm-hmm. And do this, like you come and arrest us and leave.
Yeah, and then it gets a little violent towards the end, and then all the police leave, and then we're just kind of in it.
Yeah,
and then it goes and then it's like 20 minutes of just showing riots
and looting
everywhere and looting and just how it domino affected very quickly into a full blown just war zone.
Yeah,
and then it lands on. The
music group,
what are they called?
The Dramatics.
The Dramatics, and this is where we start to meet some of our first real characters in the film. And one of the most interesting things that I really enjoyed about the movie was how it took on almost a surreal tone, which life often is when you go one block, which is a war zone, and then you walk into a theater, and there is it's a nightclub with everyone dancing.
I was having a great time,
and everyone's having a great time, and there's this great music playing.
Yeah, it's Motown.
And it's like what's happening outside is not even real.
Yeah,
and that happened a lot in the film. Because when they get to the Algiers, everyone's by the pool just hanging out. And I'm like, there's literal massive war zone rioting 2 blocks away. And I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of the amazing thing about humanity is like once it happens, your brain can't really wrap your head around it in the moment,
and you can't stand it. Yeah, and you can't spend every second.
Because what are you gonna do?
You're just like screaming.
I guess I'm just gonna sit by the pool and have a beer.
Yeah,
because it's out of my hands.
Because where are we gonna go?
Exactly.
And while we're here,
and that's totally the stuff that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought that they really nailed that. That was some of the best stuff in the movie to me.
Yeah.
Was just showing that contrast.
Yeah, because immediately your brain goes like, what?
Yeah.
Where are we?
And loved because they would always it would show a character going from one side through the war zone part and then end up in a calmer place, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty it really
striking. Reminded me a lot of the opening 5 to 10 minutes of The Insider. in terms of success.
In terms of how it was tangentially and on paper related to the plot because it had similar things. Because it's the same. It's some of the same people. Well, not really. It's just.
I would have loved to have seen I thought
it's just the same city, but then you kind of go, nah. Did we need it?
Does this feel like this felt like a Michael Mann movie to me? Honestly, I could have.
I'd have to go replay the phone calls to see if anyone said, yeah, cool. All right, see you later. No, not sorry. I said see you later. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Now listen, what you're going to want to do is...
Yeah. That's a good... That's a really
I got up before him. It's fine. It's
fine. Go. I'll listen to you. Yeah. Go ahead. Anybody else got another phone? It's 1967. They don't work that way, man. Now you've done it.
It has...
What made you feel like a Michael Mann? Because there weren't any suits with no ties.
He did Ali... he likes his Last of the Mohicans. He likes his historical backdrops. To play around in. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, especially the structure of it, like when I found out when the Algiers incident ends, and then I paused it because I was like, okay, that doesn't feel like we're close to an ending. I was like, how much time is that?
I know.
Like, oh my god, almost an hour.
I know.
I was like, oh holy shit. Yeah. That whole last 45, in addition to everything that came before it, I was like, oh, this really does kind of feel like a Michael Mann.
Where like you go like it's over, and like this story is like not so related to the beginning, and then like, oh, we're still going. Okay, fine. Oh, but everyone's being cool. That's cool.
All right. I don't like when you do that because I like him.
I like him too.
Honestly, it reminded me of The Insider.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it out loud and I was like, wait, did it? No, it did. Yeah, it did. Playing with like a historical incident. Doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Whatever.
There's some white dudes in it.
Yeah, there's some white dudes in it.
It's pretty similar in that way, in that respect. No. So
anyways,
they load people in the paddy wagons. Go ahead.
Like we get to the dramatics and we meet two of our main characters. The lead of the band, he's like so excited to go on stage. It's their big moment. They're going to play before Motown Records. And then
the little brother of
the
one
police come in and they're like, you got to shut it down.
Yeah.
You got to shut it down.
Oh.
He doesn't get to go on stage. He doesn't get to have his moment. So everyone exits the theater. He thinks his big moment for a record deal is gone.
Yeah.
He goes on stage for a nice little moment where he sings on stage in an empty theater, which I really liked. I don't know who that actor is. He's
that
fucking phenomenal.
That dude can sing like a mother.
Who is that?
I don't know.
He was very good.
Yeah. So, but this is interesting because like I want to
play. I gotta pee.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about this scene, but we'll just talk about The Insider until Jeff gets back. Christopher Plummer. Yeah, no, it's an interesting film, but I want to talk about this when he's here. I don't know. But we do, yeah. So let's here. This is what I'll set it up more. So we everyone's loaded up into the paddy wagons. People start. The community has an upright. They're like, "What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?" And they're like, and they kind of sort of rise up against the police force. And start throwing stuff at the cars, and they start looting the whatever, and then the whole thing turns into wars. And I guess we've said all this, but we land on these group of 4 guys who are in a band, who are in a sort of a Motown style band, and they're angling to get a record deal, and they're fantastic. And it's the four people in the band, and then of them. 2 guys end up being our sort of 2 of our main characters for like the middle part of the movie, which are the lead singer, who's phenomenal, and then the little brother of another of the singers. We've got Fred and what's the other guy's name? Fred and do you remember?
Who? Of the dramatics?
What's the singer's guy? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name.
Darn it. Cleveland. His last name is Cleveland. First name is I can't remember. Will? No, that's
Leland.
Yeah. Anyway, Larry Cleveland. Thank you. Who was a real person, and the Dramatics were a real group, which I did not realize. And so we've got these guys, and we meet them essentially backstage, right? About to go on, and we see like, gosh, I thought it was like Diana Ross. It was like it's just this girl group,
like a Temptations type group.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're very much that. And there's a group on stage singing, and everyone's like, the place is packed, and then. Fred, this younger guy, the younger brother, one of the guys, gets his way in because he has to like get through the barricades, and he like tells the cop who's standing there, he's like, I gotta get to work, man. I gotta get to work. Ford plant, and he's like, all right, let him through, and he runs through and goes to the theater, and Larry's there, and he's like, man, I needed you. Where were you? And blah blah blah. And he's like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. He's like, don't worry about it.
I think he actually did work at the Ford plant.
I think so too.
And that's why he was late, because he was like, I had to go to.
Oh yeah, you're right. They mentioned that. Yeah. And then he goes, you're right, absolutely. And he's like, cool. You guys ready to go on? He's like, oh man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so great. And then they're like, all right, well let's practice. And they do a full number. At which point I go, they're not going on.
Yeah.
Because we just watched their whole number to establish that they're good.
Right.
And now you guys are setting up that they're not going to get to go on, and it's a tragedy.
Right.
Which it is. Like they go down and they go, all right, and they're like announcing them. They're like, here we go. You thought we were done, but we're going to take it to the next level. Oh, and they're like the A&R guys out there, right?
Yeah.
The record producer guys out there.
Motown Records.
They're gonna get it. They're gonna, and he's like, and here we go, the main event. It's the hold on.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got to get him out of here. You got to make everybody leave. It's unsafe. And he's like, all right, we got to go. They clear everyone out, like you said. Larry's like, I can't, huh? And then he's like, Fred's like, we got to go, man. There'll be other days. There'll be other days. There'll be other days. And he goes on, and he's kind of like
shell-shocked,
dumbstruck and shell-shocked, absolutely. And he just goes on, like you said, kind of sings on his own. And I don't know, like I like everything that happened in that scene in theory and on paper. For some reason, the way it played out, I don't know, just seemed kind of like it was. I don't know, like it lingered on things too long, and I was like, are they going to do this? And then they did it. And then it seemed obvious or something. Like I just kind of was like, oh, I wanted it to keep me guessing or happen more quickly so I didn't have time to. I don't know. Like there was something about it that seemed obvious to me. I don't know why, and it didn't hit me for that reason. Even though the things that were happening, I was like, okay. And it almost seemed. It also just seemed so. And I think it's a truth is stranger than fiction situation. But I was like, this seems. And at that point, I was like, are the Dramatics? I've never heard of them. I don't know. Or they whatever. But then I was like, I probably have never heard of them because they never became a band. But they did. Yeah. But they actually did.
I had heard of them.
Oh, that's interesting.
I had heard of them, but I didn't know if I was getting it mixed up with a band that sounded similar to that, and they were doing something in that.
I didn't recognize any of the songs, which is weird because I really like Motown, but which is they make that point later. But it just the way it played out, even though I think that part probably.
What did you not like about it?
Just it's hard to put my finger on it, but it just seemed the way it. Hello. Hi, darling. Hi, sweetheart.
Hello.
Oh my gosh! Look at your pigtails. What's that?
Hi, you look so pretty.
What is this?
You look really pretty.
Yes.
What is that? Is that a laser beam?
No.
I think it's a laser pointer, right?
It's a laser light.
It's a laser light.
They like, and the cat like.
And the cat runs around and.
We'll need to see that.
Oh my goodness.
That's adorable.
Can you make it happen? Can you make the light come out? Look, honey, darling, look what's happening over there too. Do you see cats? Yeah.
Oh.
I think the filter is not. It's blinking and saying filter. I think maybe.
Well, that's probably because we haven't changed it in like a year or more.
Hit my hand.
Oh my guys, look at that.
Oh.
Yeah, I did that.
That's very impressive.
Wonderful.
I really like that's cool.
I was gonna say neither of our cats care one bit
about
laser light.
Oh.
Even though they've played with laser lights in their lives, they both were like really smart. What?
So did I, Embellock. That's a good point. I felt that way as well.
I was like, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She goes, I will care, and then she chased it around like a cat for me.
Aww.
It was very satisfying.
Oops, sorry, Donna. Sorry, guys. We've had some guests. We have some guests. Hi, darling. Smile.
I'll sing. Can I do this on Batman?
You want to show it up? You want to shine it on Batman? You shine that laser light on Batman?
Let's do that. I like that. I like doing that. I really wish
Both of our cats just looked at the source. I was like, God, that's smart. They're both like...
They're like, what are you doing with that thing?
Really?
Yeah, I was like the
this
first
is
time I was
offensive.
Like that
and
at
the
all?
second time I was like...
And they start speaking English.
Yeah.
Like, now feed me.
It felt very hokey. Oh, yeah. Interesting, Emblox. Okay, so I'm glad it wasn't just me. That's interesting.
What felt so hokey about that?
I don't know. It just felt Hollywood. Even if it's a real thing.
I will say that the singing solo on stage.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow.
I think I felt the
You saw
scene.
it.
I agree that
Singing
scene
a
is
solo?
hokey.
Oh,
I think I liked his. I just like
He's
him as
a
an actor.
fantastic singer.
The scene itself is hokey.
And
I will give you that.
and the acting is good. It
But
just
the scene behind the
Something
stage is
about
hokey.
me actually put me off.
Yeah.
That was actually when he started talking. That's right when I went to sleep,
Uh-huh.
and there's something that made me go,
Oh,
"Good time to leave."
Yeah.
It was 2 a.m., but like
You were just like,
something
this
about
is
something. He felt like he was holding back his energy. I don't know if he changed in the movie.
I
there was something
I wasn't
a
as
little
enamored
bit-
of the performances as you were.
There was
I
a
really
little
liked
bit
him.
reserved that I could feel in him, and I didn't feel like he was putting himself
A bit of a
all the way
wall,
out
I
there.
felt like.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
a little
I
bit.
agree.
It's so subtle, but
Hold me, Mom. Can you hold me?
yeah,
Mama,
I can
can
hold
you
you.
hold
You're
me?
gonna have to leave that Batman.
Do you want to take him with you for a little bit?
No, we're cleaning up. Go to bed.
Oh, you can take him with you if you want, and then do you want to bring him back?
It's up to you, or it's his choice. He can change.
You can take him, sweetheart. You really can. Will you please take me? I don't like being in here. I'd rather go with you.
One last thing to clean up.
You can't stay.
You want to take him with you?
You can't stay with me.
Yeah, but you can take him. Please take me. I don't want to stay here with Daddy.
Hey.
Yeah?
Hey. Hey. I
Batman?
don't want to. You can't.
You want me to stay here?
Yeah.
Because Mama said no?
There's rules. Batman stays in this room.
Okay. Batman, well, I'll miss you. If you change your mind, I'll be in here. This is my Batman voice.
It's terrible.
It is really bad. See you later. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Good night. Love you, girls.
Love you.
Oh, this looks
You
cool.
felt similar about the scene at the end where he's eating out of that cooking pot.
I felt that way too. I'm glad that. So this is.
I guess I'm under the guise of all
Empathy?
this is I'm an empathetic individual
Yeah, right,
with compassion
sure.
for human beings,
fair
but
point.
also this is under the guise of like I'm assuming this is all based on some sort of historical fact.
It is.
in,
I mean,
in
and
some
I think
way,
it is.
shape,
It's
or
based
form.
on accounts, I believe.
So
I mean, yeah.
that's the cooking pot is so specific that who am I to argue?
No,
I just
sure.
go with it because I'm like, oh, I'm assuming that happened.
And that's why it's hard for me to put my finger on it, and I think it might be pacing or something because it's that's what I'm saying. I don't like I'm watching it and I go, this surely this is something that happened. They wouldn't make this up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean at the end and stuff. But there was something about it
because if that was made up, then I have a real problem with that cooking pot scene.
Oh, of course, yeah. No,
Like-
and I don't think it was made. I think they're just kind of they're driving home points that we get. They're got like that whole first thing is like they really want to make a record and here's their chance and they didn't get it, which I'm assuming and I hope happened in exactly that way, because if not, I'm like that's cliched and ridiculous and too open and shut ... You know what I mean? Like too boop boop boop. Can you believe it? But I think it must have been true that it happened almost exactly that way.
I just didn't think it was very cliche.
Well,
I feel
not
like
cliche.
now that we're unpacking it, I do think that him singing solo on stage would be the hokey part of the scene. But like
And I don't
in
even
terms
have-
of like conveying
Yeah.
what you need to get to
Sure.
convey and show the hopes and dreams aspect, and then show how the conflict outside is interrupting hopes, dreams, lives, everything. It's crushing things in ways that you wouldn't even consider of how they're going to be crushed. It's not just life and death. It's also your ambition.
Yeah,
and like which literally plays out for him later on in the film because his ambition for what the only thing he wanted in life is completely zapped from his experience through this entire thing.
I mean, he finds a way to redirect it, but
they sewed it together at the beginning and the end. It kind of was the heart of the movie.
Well, so this is interesting, and this goes to a deeper thing too for me that I guess I'll talk about later. But to me, I think. Yeah, I thought of that as well. It says at the end that much of it is dramatized. I mean, the cooking pot thing, maybe the cooking pot is the quick way of saying,
but dramatized off. I thought it said like dramatized off specific accounts.
Sure. Sure. And I think, I think it's very possible that he goes, look, I was eating beans out of a pot. That's fine. And this happened. Sure, I've totally. Yeah. So have I.
You guys tell me.
Are you saying you've suffered as much as these people?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Because I didn't have to put a handkerchief through a broken window.
Yeah.
I was very warm.
And that is so specific and not something that I've necessarily seen before. That I think that is based on fact. I think all that stuff is based on fact.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
It's not like he had a stick and bindle, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like it, like...
Just in his house.
I don't think eating...
No, I know.
Contextually, within the process of that, I just didn't think that was cliche.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the content of the scene, as written on the page, I do not have a problem with, or I don't have an issue with, or I don't have a whatever adverse reaction to. It's the way that it's presented, and the last scene, that scene that we're talking about, where we go, look, he's fallen on hard times.
Well, they were flying at that point.
But they didn't.
I didn't know how much time had passed. I was oh, we're just like checking off our boxes at this point.
Yeah, but my thing is that I wish they'd flown more. Like if he puts the thing in there, shivers once, stirs some pot, stirs some bean, and we cut up to his eyes, and then he's walking to the church. I get it. That scene goes on for like 4 minutes. Like I go of him sitting and just being sad.
Yeah, you say that, and now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I just but I'm really trying to put my finger on the thing where I go, so that's easier for me to cover himself with a blanket. It was the execution, but it's hard for me to pinpoint what it is about the execution. Not so much in that scene. In this first scene, I go, what is it? And I think it's just that they're like hammering it home. He shows up. I think almost from the beginning, he comes in and he goes like, hey, and he goes, where were you? I needed you. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm here, man. I'm here. He's like, I can't do this, blah, 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 blah. Is the A&R man out there? Yeah. And that's like almost all I need.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay, cool. Are we ready? Oh, we're good. We're really good. And I'm like, yeah, you are great. And you sang the whole song and you show me and you have dance moves. I can see. Yeah. I feel like the movie's going, they're prepared, they're ready, they're going to nail it.
Yeah.
And I go, the reason you're showing me this...
It kind of would have made... If they had not shown them singing...
Yeah.
And then when they're up against the wall at the Algiers...
Oh.
And then, like, he chooses that moment...
To show,
like, just out of nowhere...
Yeah.
That he can sing, and, like, you kind of build to it in a different way to where that becomes a cathartic thing.
Yes.
And that moment, I didn't like, because I was like, why are you singing like that right now?
Can you imagine... And
then if you had worked that way by doing what you're saying and then build appropriately to where he just needs to sing.
Yes.
And he sings in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Or can you imagine if he just doesn't, if we keep getting denied seeing them sing. And I understand when you've got an actor who can sing like that, you go, well, let's stick it in as many places. But imagine if we don't see him, and the first time we see him is at church, I would have lost my shit. If that's the first time I get to see what a beautiful singer he is and what a beautiful voice he has, I would have sobbed. And I kind of did anyway. That was a very nice moment anyway. But it was almost like my brain was going, but it didn't hit me as hard because my brain goes, oh, it was like, here's the rhythm. Rhythmically, this is where I start crying. And I go, and he's singing, and I go, and I know he's a good singer, so I can fill that in for myself. Just go ahead and start crying. Just cry. And I did a little bit. But
I didn't.
But then he sang that for a long time. It's this thing where I didn't, and now that's like a different way of doing it or whatever. Like I'm not saying like they need to do it in that specific way, but
it would have been more impactful. Yeah, like
they hit like
because like when he started singing at the wall, like.
Well, and I think that lays the foundation. He's singing prayers, and so when the guy's like later, he goes, He's singing worship, and he's like, "Oh, I get it." Like he goes, "Like, have you ever done?" I go, "Yeah, you sang. I know you."
He did have the, which I didn't even know if I felt uncomfortable laughing, but when he was singing, and then Will Poulter was like, "He's really praying."
Oh man, yeah.
I was like, this is horrifying.
Yeah,
this is a good joke. I laughed.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, I get it. That's
because I think it was just so awkward. I was struck with just like the fact that he said it. I was just like, that's funny.
Yeah. I was struck with cold terror, but no, I get it. I'm not. No.
I laugh when I'm nervous. All right.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Okay, yeah, I can see what you're saying there.
Well, and I just because that whole scene, they hit. There were like 6 beats that were like they really want a record deal, and I go.
Do you do that a lot when you watch movies? Like actively?
No. What?
Well, I do. Okay, I just never. I don't unpack movies on my first go. I feel like.
Here's the thing.
I just I'm one of those, and I know that people watch movies differently. I can never unpack them I just let it fucking just.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they could have done that.
Here's the deal, and this stuff that we're talking about right now, it didn't occur to me till just now as we're talking about it. But there are certain things that happen to me where I go, okay, and I actually sometimes I don't even realize it till I start talking about my reaction to the scene. But then I realize like, oh yeah, I was there, and if I start unpacking the scene, then I go, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Because absolutely there are movies where I go, there are movies that they just go, like there are some movies where I go, I can relax. And I just, if the movie has to force me to just watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it doesn't have to, but the movie has to like engage me in order for me to not think about how it's going. Like The Dark Knight Rises. There's tons of shit to nitpick about that, and people have done it for years at this point. But I didn't think about any of it because I was like, I'm not saying The Dark Knight Rises is a better movie than this. I'm obviously not saying it's a more important film or anything, but the level of what I was looking for and what I was getting, I was just like, it's fine.
Yeah,
or Interstellar, just like. But there are movies
because I saw Ad Astra last night, and I was texting you about it, and I had a crazy. I haven't been that moved by a movie in a really long time, and I was really blown away by it. And then I had read some stuff about it where they were nitpicking things here and there, and I immediately thought of how, like, when we were discussing Interstellar, like we had a long conversation, like a 3-hour conversation about Interstellar. And it's just like even the things that were, I'm like, okay, maybe that's true. I just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like that, I was grateful for that movie going experience.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then nothing's ever going to take that. I'm like, that's a bona fide. I'm grateful that movie was made. I can't say that about most movies.
Yeah, I've heard really great things and really bad things about Ad Astra. Yeah, I get really excited when people go, I love it and I hate it. And usually if like most people are like, I hate it, and there's like a significant but smaller portion of people who are like, oh, it's phenomenal, then I go, that one's for me.
Yeah. Because I heard the exact same thing. I heard such mixed things.
I'm excited.
And I went in with I like James Gray, but I went in with relatively low expectations, and I was floored.
But that's all we're going to say about it.
Yeah, sorry.
Because, 2001, I think people compare anything that's...
I just go in, just watch it. Don't compare it to anything. It's its own thing, and I love what it did.
I think anytime there's a space movie that has any sort of metaphorical or emotional... whatever, like any sort of deeper meaning, people go 2001, and I go, I get that, but like,
I don't even
like just because it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, I feel like 2001 is just the one where it's just like, oh, it's aesthetically, it's in space, so it's 2001, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, 2001 is like,
and thematically, it's not even.
There's very little that can be compared to 2001. I don't even mean like 2001 is up here and everything else is down here. I don't even mean it in that sense.
Yeah.
There's just very little.
Yeah.
Like The Fountain. It's like the only thing.
I watched The Fountain the other night.
And to me, that's like 2001.
I didn't finish it.
It's fair. Anyway, whatever. I'm really excited to see Ad Astra. Does that Brad Pitt take his shirt off? Okay. Brad Tits.
I don't think he does.
I call him Brad
He did at one point. But he's very... I feel like it's in his contract where he's like, you can't show my stomach.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I want that.
Because it's... You can do laundry on your stomach, or...
No.
Yeah.
It's like someone did laundry and put it in my stomach. Let's
You got a full load of laundry,
baby.
Man.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so look, they have that terrible. We're still in the like.
As we do.
But so they have that, and then they
get ushered off stage,
dejected and
onto a
disillusioned, and they get on a bus, and the bus gets attacked, and they get off the bus, and they're running through the war zone, and they end up at the
and one
singer
guy
and his best friend end up at the Algiers.
Because
everybody else kind of goes off and joins the.
They talk about that. Yeah, I guess. I wonder. It's crazy.
They show one of them definitely partaking.
Oh, interesting.
Because
one dude says it.
Yeah.
Because they're driving through, and then they're driving from this this utopia, this oasis of like just having fun land. Mm-hmm. Like you said, there are just certain buildings in Detroit that are fine.
Yeah.
And they leave. They get on a bus and they drive through, and they go, "Whoa!" Yeah. And just things are on fire. Everything is. I mean, it might have been. I don't know how far away that was, but whatever. People are throwing things. People are just whatever. People are looting. There's just fire and destruction everywhere. And they're all like, man, this is crazy. And one dude goes like, we need to get off. We need to join them. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, I think, and they show people reacting and people make points like they're like even the super racist leader guy. Mm-hmm. I think someone says he's like what he's like they can't burn their own houses. We can't let them do that, you know. And he's like they're destroying. And like there's it's not Stokely Carmichael, John Cornyn, not Cornyn. John Cornyn is a Texas guy. Can't remember his name, but he's a politician who's like he comes into the town he comes into Detroit, into the heart of Detroit, and kind of he's like hey, I'm angry too. I get it. But I'm just here. I'm asking you to not destroy your own neighborhood. That's not going to do anything. And I mean, and I think that's what a lot of people on the outside, how they felt about it. You know, they're like, what are they doing? They're destroying their own neighborhood. This is all destruction and whatever. Here's where the
movie failed for me. And it's a pretty big gripe I have.
Conyers. Thank you, Conyers.
It didn't show where all this anger was stemming from.
I mean, yeah.
And if it did, it didn't do good enough
job.
It
did that infographic at the beginning.
I know where I'm saying that infographic doesn't work. It was unsuccessful. I don't like that. And it failed to show because
I filled that part in for myself. But you're right, they don't.
No, but you can't. No.
I know. I agree.
And I feel like that speakeasy opening was supposed to somehow lay the groundwork for that, because right after that the police car paddy wagons, they drive away and they start looting instantly.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a good look for the movie, that you're trying to justify some layers of how does this happen? Yeah. And that's my main issue with this movie, is that on both sides, you don't just show it's the same thing I had an issue with The Nightingale. Don't show me in that movie. It was like, you can't show me rape over and over and over and then expect me to understand rape. That to me is not, that's a lazy way of showing something tough and being like, isn't it artistic, and isn't it horrible, and isn't it an inhumane thing to do? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. You did nothing to unpack it and show the nuance on either side of both a rapist and the victim, of how the effects of that. You just showed a monster and then a victim being angry about it. And in the similar scenario here, it's just you show people who are violently angry for reasons that, within the context of just the parameters of the film, they did not do a good enough job.
I definitely agree
justifying
with that. I agree with that.
Where the hatred for the police is coming from,
sure,
which is absolutely on record, and you could at least give me a couple of scenes instead of 30 minutes of riot footage.
Yeah.
Show me that in your intro,
mm-hmm.
In a detailed historical way. And then on the flip side, with all the racist cops, you can go the route of just showing a horrific monster who's just racist,
mm-hmm.
and that's your full right to do so. And some would argue that that's the way it should be portrayed.
Sure.
I think it's a lazy way of doing it, though, because then you're not exploring where that comes from, and understand. And I'm not asking to empathize with the monster.
Right.
They're horrific people, but to just say, like, to not offer up any backstory whatsoever as to where that motivation is coming from is a far less interesting way of making this movie.
Yeah.
And it seems lazy to me. And so it's interesting now we're unpacking this, because I thought I liked this movie a lot more than I did. I don't think I really liked it all that much.
Yeah.
Now that we're really unpacking it.
I wish I liked it more too.
Because it was far too simple-minded on a script level, and it was going for that visceral thing.
Yeah.
But throwing away but it's crazy, because then the last 45 minutes feels kind of different in that sense. But now that I'm like unpacking that, I'm just like, no, you had Jim Halpert in there just railroading.
That was weird.
And just and it was it was all about, and like,
this is a movie that is and here's the so go ahead.
Well, this is why, you can make an argument, and like, look, I did a video about something very similar.
Right.
And I'm a white guy.
Yeah.
And you can make the argument, it's like, well, what gives you the right to do it? And I felt like the only reason I did it was because I felt like I had enough of an angle on it to where I could do it, and I felt justified personally to do it.
Do you want to share it?
Sure.
Does that seem weird or not? Okay.
I felt like she felt like her hands were tied, where if she empathized with or showed any type of complexity for the cops, she was going to be accused of something.
That's interesting.
I don't know. Like, that's how it felt to me. I was like, why are you going for this simplistic route?
And I think I have an idea about why. Because that's Jeff's video about the same thing. About not the same thing, but similar things. There's several things I wanted to respond to, and I think I can only remember one now.
Well, I was just basically talking about the simple-mindedness of the script, not providing motivation really for either side.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's it. So I definitely think you're right in the sense that, like, I think you're right, and I think you're right when you say that they didn't go far enough. Because I felt the same way when they go, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, what? They're just, they're like, they're just hanging out in a club. They're just having fun. This is the beginning, the origin of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why you just come into our neighborhood, when you want to arrest people, you whatever, you don't have it. You're from the outside. You come in, you do this all the time. You take people away from us. And come on. And the guy's like, you don't have a liquor license. And you're like, okay, there are the two sides. It's like, this is the law. And they're like,
right.
you don't protect, or, you don't care about us unless there's whatever. And like, sure. And they take them away and you go, okay, those are the two sides. And then they go, yeah. And then they kind of throw stuff at the police and throw stuff at the cars and whatever. And it's like rage. And they say in that infographic, it's like, it was time for something had to change. Yeah. And you go, okay, well, that infographic told me, and here it is happening. Yeah. And then they drive away, and the guy goes, and like breaks into a store window and steals a bike, and everyone's like, yeah, wah, wah. And then they have some like sound bites of people going like, they need to not destroy. People are destroying their own neighborhood, and it's not whatever. And you kind of go like, that makes sense from the outside.
Yeah.
But what they didn't do, you're right. They didn't. I filled stuff in.
That's the crime of it almost, is like, you shouldn't like, by not giving us like a very significant understanding of why there's so much rage there. Mm-hmm. When you have a racist cop say something like that, you're like, well, I mean, the film, I understand historically, but the film is telling me that I just saw a bunch of people looting very quickly. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, and for people who don't know all the backstory and stuff, I'm like, it's not great.
And for people who come to it with that perspective anyway, who are like,
right.
looting, but you're not doing anything by looting. And it is, and they didn't once have the one thing they had, which didn't work. They had like Stokely Carmichael speaking and saying like, the problem isn't violence. The problem is that we've been nonviolent for too long. And you go, cool. There's a whole lot of context and a whole lot of understanding that you need to, that if you don't have it, that statement alone makes you go, well, that's crazy. That's, I mean, not crazy, but there's no explanation for that.
Yeah.
And I think Bigelow or Mark Bowl or whoever, I think the filmmakers are kind of going like, you got to come to this with some sort of context or some sort of knowledge of that. And I go, oh, but this is an opportunity. This film is an opportunity to kind
of, which is where that opening, like they even had it. It just didn't work.
And what you need is someone. You just need a scene where someone is. I mean, they have the thing where you go, you guys just come in here and you take people away. And you go, yeah, you're like, that makes sense. That's why they're angry. But then the rest of it is really heavy on the other stuff, and you forget that they said that. Whatever. Yeah. Well, you need someone going like, we are literally powerless. There is nothing we can do. You come in, you've got a gun. If we fight back, there's more trouble. It's a crime to be black here.
Yeah.
And we've got the weight before that of history on us.
And like
there's just such built up rage, and there's nothing we can do because even we can't go to the power structures for help.
Yeah.
Because the power structures are the ones.
It's just this vicious cycle, but like no one understands. Like the movie
and
itself.
They just go
I know, and like that would
like
they literally could have probably solved a lot of this just through like anytime they cut to stock footage, like newsreel footage, I would have happily accepted a lot of text as like as little intervals to just provide my footing, and like I just would have been better with a lot of text up front, and some text throughout maybe just to give us some if you're gonna go for this visceral like boots on the ground,
or even like dude like. And I maybe because I'm
just saying if you want to keep the structure of what this is, which is just like we want to give you an emotional take on it, and I'm like, cool. If you're gonna do that, then you got to do some text cards.
Yeah,
you got to do something.
And I feel like because you're right. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of context to be given, and a lot of understanding that a lot of people who are going to see this movie, a lot of white people who are going to see this movie, don't understand.
Yeah,
we don't understand. We do not understand. Even saying this, I absolutely do not understand what it's like, obviously.
Yes. And especially given when it came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which was a little after the peak of, like, when all this was certainly in the news.
Right.
And everything. And, like, the Dallas shooting.
Maybe that's it.
The Dallas shooting had just happened, like, 6 months prior. Yeah. And which was, like, pretty much the apex of, like, where that all came to a head. And so because of that, I felt like it was all the more important. Yeah. And because it's still going on a daily basis.
It is.
I just feel like it was all the more important to justify this stuff.
Because
this rage.
And see, that's the thing is, I feel like this is interesting because I feel like it is a movie of its time. Because I feel like Kathryn Bigelow and Mark Bolk and the filmmakers came to it. This is a movie that by the end of it wants you to be enraged. It wants you to be full of rage. And it got me there at an unexpected time for me.
It did, but it also, I was just like, you left yourself open enough to be criticized for being very slanted.
Well, because if someone comes in with the, like, going like, all right, I'm going to watch this, I feel like the riots and the, like, you know, if they're, whatever, we're going to dive into politics, we have to, but like, if you know, there are people who are like, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. And you're like, yeah, I get that. Like 100% I get that. The first time I heard that, I was like, yeah, I totally understand. I was like, yeah, all lives do matter. But then it's like, it's this thing where you're just like, there's not like.
Well, it's missing the point.
That is absolutely missing the point.
Yeah.
because we're not talking about all lives, because all lives don't go through this.
It's like a what
Black
about
lives go through this.
It's a whataboutism. It's a okay, well yeah, but like what about this? I'm like I'm not talking about that.
That's a red herring, man.
I'm not talking about that right now.
And it makes sense, and like it comes from people going like, I'm not, yeah, like what's going on? Like I'm not doing anything to anyone. It's like yeah. Societally, there is a thing that we like. I remember the first time I started seeing like, and it's crazy, and I never. But like the first time I started seeing those videos or those posts about people like, and like people talking about parents and children and people who grew up talking about the talk that Black parents have with their male children.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? And you start seeing it, and you go, oh, and it fucking just broke me in half because it's like, and it's a thing that even though I've seen it a million times and cried over it now, I do not understand it, and I never fucking will.
But that's one of those things that I feel like a lot of people can't get past is the lack of control over saying, no, you're never.
Yes.
Like you're just never gonna understand it.
But there's no way.
Like,
because I don't.
You will never. And you're like, well, I get it. And you're like, but
no,
I don't even get it.
No, I don't get it.
And how could I get it?
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and it's not the same thing. But it's in the same way that a woman is like, you'll never understand what it's like to walk from one place to another at a certain time of day and be fucking terrified for your life from every male you encounter.
Right.
And you go like, oh, I understand that intellectually. You go, yeah, it's not baked into your body because you spend your entire adult life aware of that.
Right.
Viscerally and in a way that you have to look over your fucking shoulder. And like I had friends who like, who like, it was like, oh yeah, like everyone has the talk where if you have a Black male child after a certain age, and that age is getting younger and younger, where you're like, you just can't. You got to be, you can't wear certain things. You cannot speak to people certain ways. You have to like, it's like if someone is rude to you, consider like take them in and understand where like you have to be careful.
Yeah, right.
Which is not ever a conversation my mother had with me because she never, and it's not a conversation she would conceive of.
Right. Which when you break that down, it's just like
the stress of that on your fucking life. You talk
about the malleability of like what reality is, because it's just like that's why you'll never ever understand, because like it's just that thing of which is why it's so crazy. The color of your skin like literally puts you in a different reality.
100% And I cannot believe I just
wish something like that was explored. Like I just felt like with the film it was too black and white in the sense that it was just it's rage on both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. I understand what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, boy, what a missed opportunity though to bring a little bit of nuance and understanding as to how. I'm not asking you to solve the problem.
No.
It's not a solvable problem.
Right.
It's not. But you're just you're reinforcing what is already there and not really adding anything to the conversation, I felt like. Yeah. And also it's just like, they did have the one scene where after all the Larry, after he gets out, and he's all beaten to a pulp, and then he comes across another cop and he's horrified, and that cop's nice to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, you needed that moment. I hated that kid actor who played that cop, though.
Really?
I did not enjoy his performance in that moment. I was like, that was such an integral scene to show the humanity. I was like, oh, thank you for providing some balance a little bit, but because it was so much hate like on all sides that I was just like, which I get, but it's a 2+ hour movie. Like you have plenty of time to show. I'm just asking for a little bit of nuance.
Well, and
I hated that scene because I thought it was poorly acted, and I thought it was really heavy-handed.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that there are like probably, more than a handful of lines and moments, more than a handful, and I understand because as Mark Boal is. I don't know. Is Mark Boal a white guy?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't know why I'm assuming. I'm just assuming that.
Mm-hmm.
Kathryn Bigelow is a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
They're making this film.
Mm-hmm.
They all facts.
Mm-hmm.
There are probably 10 maybe lines, moments that you're like, I know why that's there, and it's very obvious why that's there. One of them is in that scene when the officer, he's like, what happened? And he goes, who could do this to someone?
That's
and I go,
yes,
but you're going like, not the same cop, not the same guy, not the, you know.
It was
and
so
it's just go like,
I was just like, dude, there's a way to do that exact scene in a more like. It was such a white savior, like literally, like I'm the nicest cop on the planet, and I'm like, that's not what you needed.
Yeah, he's a police officer. He's never seen. I mean, the kid they got was like 18 years old,
and he's in the middle of a war zone, and he's like, who could do something like this?
Like,
and I'm like, well, look, literally any other direction because that's where it's happening.
That's true.
It just felt.
I didn't necessarily
think cheesy as fuck.
Yeah. Well, and there are things like there are moments where. Well, and some of them, they definitely, when it wasn't those cops, they gave other like split second, like day player police officers, like these lines that go like, I'm not a racist cop. And then like, I'm not a racist cop. And they do these things where the guy, like, you know, when he's driving away from the we're jumping all over the place, but like the guy's like, he's you know, the other guys go like, we had to tell him what happened. We're all going down. And he goes, fuck this, and walks out, gets in his car, starts driving. And the guy goes, hey. And I like his performance, but he goes, hey, you racist fuck, get back in there. And I'm like, that wasn't too bad.
That felt good.
Yes. And
at that point, you were just like, you had seen him do such horrific shit that it felt... Yeah. It felt like
cathartic.
If I saw it in the theater, it'd be like, woo!
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And absolutely. But I think that was a moment where he's like, you racist fuck, because I'm not a racist. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not faulting him for that, because you're right. It is kind of like a.
But honestly, that felt pretty real, because like.
Yeah.
If he's not a racist cop, which all cops.
He's got to be clear that he's not racist. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
At all.
Yeah.
And then also on top of that, if you had just interviewed two people who had told you what went down, and you had a pretty good inkling already, and then they confirmed it, you'd be pretty fucking angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you would be like, you're a racist fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, it's true. And
because he already got him on murder charges. Like that was the other thing. Like he was already well aware that he had already shot another black person in the back.
Yeah.
The fact that they let him back on the force, I guess it was just because it was the context of the riots. Yeah. They needed all the men they could get. Yeah. But good heavens.
Yeah, man.
There's a lack of nuance and a lot of big. Yeah, she's such an intelligent figure visually and with action, but when it comes to story and theme, she's often very surface. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I still like. I need to revisit
Zero Dark.
Can't believe I'm gonna watch another Bigelow movie, but I need to revisit Zero Dark 30 because as of now, I still kind of think Hurt Locker from beginning to end is her best movie. And I mean,
might be her best one. It might not be my favorite.
My favorite is Point Break, without question. But I think her best movie that handles everything in a very even-handed way on all levels, like all the way down, it's gonna be Hurt Locker. Yeah, Hurt Locker is a great film. It's interesting. There's another moment where, and this is, they do it, and they kind of, well, they don't need to. I mean, it sort of serves its purpose and it serves it well, and it's impactful, but it also is very like when the guy comes out and he's like, "Hey, man, like Detroit PD's fucking going crazy in there," and it's like this like military leader guy, and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, like they're going crazy, they're fucking killing people and whatever." And he's like, and they got people in there, they're terrorizing. Because I mean, that was like, did they actually say it? I think they did. They said terrorizing, or they're using terrorist, like, because those guys are terrorists. He laid it out flat, and then the guy Michigan State military police or whatever he was like, well, I don't need to get in the middle of like a civil rights. Because he goes, that's not right. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. He goes, that's what I'm saying. He goes, he's like, they got civil rights. Mm-hmm. And he just makes it very clear that he understands it completely. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, yeah.
And then the way he goes with that, he's like, oh, I said civil rights. Ooh, that's going to be hairy. Let's let him. Let's let him do it. And then later, there's like there's a National Guard dude who's like a good guy, but is also taking part in it. But he's also the kind of guy. A couple guys in there who are like wide-eyed and be like, all right, I'm going along with it, but like we're cool, right?
Even Boyega,
I'm several seconds from
same thing.
Yeah, and it was like, but I'm like 5 seconds from like, all right, fuck you, whatever, and or like, but then that guy's like, he's like, all right, this is a police matter, and leaves, and you're just like, shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like more dudes just fucking, and it's just like,
and it's infuriating.
Yeah,
and it happens.
Yeah,
and it's infuriating.
And it's
that's like stuff like that. You're like that when we watch it, and you're like that. You're just like, what? The guy got on board to help defuse it until someone else got him killed.
And he was like, and that's such a pointed. But I think that's one where I go like they have the actor go like pause the film and go, I understand what's happening. I am the help. I am leaving.
Yeah.
And you go, okay.
It's just
it's pointed, but it works, and it doesn't like it's clear his.
Yeah,
it's sort of like
it makes it upsetting because he's not a good guy.
It's on the nose, but you're like, okay.
He's a good guy compared to legitimate psychopaths.
Oh, you're talking about the
military guard.
The guy who was in there and then left.
Yeah. Because he's not a good guy.
No.
Because it's an interesting thing to explore in the sense that like probably one of the more successful things they explored is just how someone can take command of a situation through sheer presence. And everyone, and then human nature just bows down. And you're like, well, they're in charge of it, so okay.
Yeah.
Like that military guard should have said, "Get the fuck out of here and let them go."
Yeah, man.
Or take them outside and throw them in a paddy wagon and get them down to the station.
Yeah.
Like you're beat cops. Where's your power coming from?
Yeah, that shocked me when I was like, oh, cool. Well, like this, he's not going to let that stand.
And the fact that it was all happening
outside. He's barking orders at him, and the military dude is like, the National Guard guy is going like, all right. And I go,
and the entire time I'm just like, this is so infuriating. Why doesn't anyone that's outside come in? Because they hear gunshots going off. So like everyone's implicated in this. I'm like, what is? And then, but the entire time I'm like, well, this fucking happened. So that's. Yeah. I'm assuming they did their due diligence, and that's. Like, because that's the crazy. Whenever I watch when I watch documentaries and stuff, I'm just like, oh yeah, like that's just fucking crazy, fucking shit happens every single day.
Because people
like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
And people,
it's fight or flight.
Most people are just like, that would never happen, so we're good. Yeah. And then it happens,
and then you just go,
and you're like,
but it's happened, and you're just frozen.
And then you're frozen, and then you get situations like that. It's just
totally, man. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, just to go through. So we landed the Algiers. We meet some of the people, some of the characters. They like. What's crazy is that like they do these. There's some very pointed things. So they go up and they walk down. Larry and Fred are up there. They're in the motel. I didn't really understand why people were living at that motel. Or like why because like they have homes. Like Larry and Fred, I think, have homes, right? Larry definitely later had. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
I didn't know where Larry was living at the end either. Like.
Yeah, because at one point they go, Larry, you got a letter, and I go, that's his house. Mm-hmm. But then there are a lot of people around, and either there are a lot of people in a house, which makes 100% sense. Mm-hmm. But then the ages of the people that I saw in that split-second shot was like, oh wait, is this like a bunch of people living in the house together? I don't know. Or is it a family? But anyway, whatever. And then later he's all by himself, and I go, what happened to the situation with all the people? Maybe he couldn't.
What part are you talking about?
So later in the movie, yeah. Later in the movie, there's a girl, and she goes, Larry, you got a letter.
Oh, she runs out. Oh, the one she's talking on the phone with earlier in the film.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the one he's talking on the phone with?
No, because he was trying to get in her pants.
Yeah, that's like, I thought that was his sister.
But so that's like an area where he's from, though.
He lives in that house at that point. She runs upstairs, and then like the number and ages of people that were in there, I was like, oh, it's his house. And I go, wait, is it not his house? Is that another?
Yeah.
Is that a boarding house situation? Is it another motel? Because that motel was kind of like a house. Anyway, whatever. And then later he's by himself, and I was like, wait, what happened to those people?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But,
yeah, right.
But so for some reason, Larry and Fred go hang out at the Algiers, and they're going to stay there. They get a room for the night.
They were like, we're going to wait it out.
Maybe that's it. Maybe
they said that on the bus.
Okay, so maybe wait till it blows over. Maybe they just couldn't get home because that's too much of a walk.
And it was just too
dangerous. Whatever. And
so that makes sense. Yeah.
But they go there, and then these people are just living in this motel, and he's like, and they're talking about stuff, and he's like, "We're going to take care of that problem of yours." And I was like, "Got it." And they go downstairs, and then there are these two girls. One of them I can't remember what she's from, but she's good. She actually did.
It was Amber Tamblyn, but it's not.
Now one of them. The one who, like, there's one who, like, honestly didn't get to do that much. And I've seen her in other stuff, and I'm like, oh, she's really good. And I can't remember what she's from. The other one kind of looked like Alexandra Daddario, but was not.
One of them is Gilly in Game of Thrones. Hannah Murray.
Oh, so she's also British? Man.
We haven't really, either one of us, seen Game of Thrones all that much.
She is, gosh darn it, she was great. The main one, like the main one. Yeah. She was great.
She was quite good.
She was very good. Gosh darn it, she's British. Totally fooled me. 100%. Yeah. They've got a school. They've the Australians and black. I feel like that's a bad way to start any sentence. Australian actors. I'm sure there's a bunker where Australian actors go to lose their Australian accents or to learn American accents, and they're fantastic at it. British people as well.
British people.
First time I saw Matthew Good, I did not realize. I saw him in The Lookout, and I was like, and then I saw him in something else, and I go, oh, that's a good British accent, and then I was like,
oh,
what?
Well, I mean, I remember the first time I saw Colin Farrell. He's Irish.
Yeah.
But
Tigerland?
He's crazy Irish.
Yes, he is.
And I first saw him in Minority Report.
Yeah.
And then I saw him in Tigerland.
Tigerland's freaking
awesome. And then I saw him in an interview.
Joel Schumacher,
and I went, what's the world I'm living in now?
You saw him in what?
I saw him just in an interview.
Oh,
and I said, I was like on Leno or something.
Yeah, he's like, and they go, cut. And he goes, are we good?
Yeah.
Because I'm keeping this up.
Holy shit.
Hey, pet the dog.
He sounds like a legitimate leprechaun.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then he goes, and they go, all right, Colin, thanks for the interview. And he's like, I'm going to go box a guy in slow motion and get kicked up. And that's going to play Golden Brown. It's from Snatch. I'm from Snatch. I'm Brad Pitt from Snatch. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Well, she's amazing. Yeah, and her accent is amazing.
She's one of two white girls,
right?
And they're hanging out.
And they reveal them. They go they walk into the Algiers, Larry and whatever, and it's just like going, this is the Algiers, boom, boom, boom. He has a nice little moment with the desk lady. She's like, you're looking for the Ritz. This is wrong. And he's like, well, you. And then whatever. And then it cuts around, and then like it shows them like partying with these dudes, and like she's one of them is in
they hit on the girls, and then the girls
and the camera goes, it's a black guy with a white girl, like it kind of holds on it, and I was like, I get it.
When
early on it just seemed like it held too much to be like, look at that, and like not like in a bad way, but it's like here's a situation that's gonna whatever. And I was like, I get it, but why are you holding on it? And then later I was like, oh, maybe it's holding on it because she's a main character. Yeah, but I was kind of like, okay, like I don't know.
Where's that coming from?
It's not. I just felt like the movie was trying to tell me that.
Did that make you mad? Who do you think is the protagonist in this?
Oh my gosh, this is so. We can't ever. Do something.
But anyways, so they meet the girls, they hit on them, they hit it off, and then they go upstairs where some of
other dudes,
some of her other friends are. And one of the best performances for me was the guy with the starter pistol.
I love that guy. I don't know who that was.
Guy.
He's probably British.
Loved everything. Loved his everything from beginning to end. He had the saddest when he got shot.
Oh yeah.
Saddest. Like that was hard to watch.
And then he was like, and his terror at that moment.
And his terror, and they showed him as his last breath comes out, and he has this tear.
Yeah.
And then he's just gone, and it was just horrifying and very impactful.
Anyway,
but his performance in that moment was great, and they're talking about I can't remember what the discussion was.
He's talking about
him bringing the starter pistol.
He's essentially going, you don't know what it's like to be black with
because he's
talking
to the white girl, right?
And it makes sense now that like this stuff, or maybe I guess if this is based on accounts, maybe this is really what happened. But I was kind of like, this feels like something Mark Ball wrote as opposed to something that really happened. But maybe it did.
I mean, clearly, I think that did happen. If that didn't happen, that's crazy creative license because it's what brings them over there. But shaking that whole scene, even if him pointing it at his friend, it was dramatized. I thought it was very effective.
It was good. It was very good.
I loved how he played it.
Yes, I agree.
Because he would like be very serious. And he was like, because that's what they like to do.
Yeah.
They like to get you all riled up and not knowing which way, blah, 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 blah. And then he did it again. But what was interesting is like, and why I assumed it's historical is because when he did it, I was just like, why did you do that? Like.
Why did he shoot out? Oh, I think the shooting out of the thing with the starter pistol is historical. I think what my feeling is that whole speech where he fake shoots the guy, I think that was to show us that it's a starter pistol, but it looks real.
Yeah, I think so.
And then they were like, in what situation would we do that? And Mark Bull came up with this conversation where that's very true and is very important and very needed to be heard. But I'm kind of like, at that moment, they're going, well, maybe. Very well could have happened.
Yeah.
But then he's talking about, he's like, this is what Detroit police is like. This is what it's like to deal with Detroit police as a black person. Because he's talking to white girls and he's, whatever.
And then that was great. And that was that nuance that I was like, I knew more of that and more of that up front. Like, I wish that had been, I almost wish that conversation had happened, like, because I'm pretty sure it was just too well scripted that I was just like, that's definitely dramatized.
Right.
But I was like, put that in the speakeasy.
Yeah, and that you're right.
Build off that.
I weirdly forgot about that. That is the justification. It's like that's what it feels like, and then it's like it's a microcosm of it. He explains it, and then he just goes, "Man, I'm just going to shoot a starter pistol at him."
Or just like start, or like figure out a way to start the movie with that scene.
Yeah.
So it justifies everything,
and then
then go back.
You shave about. $500,000 off your budget, you're fine.
45 minutes of your movie.
Yeah.
But it was just such an impactful way of showing that, and I wish but it was almost too late in the game. It just would have, I felt like it would have worked contextually way better if they'd stuck it up in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. What a great performance. And then it's like essentially the inciting incident. He shoots at them to just kind of like, out of this feeling of powerlessness, he wants to
scare him.
Have some power, some license, some agency as a human being.
Yeah.
And kind of like hit back at the people who, and that makes sense. She goes, boom, and they're like, what are you doing? It's like, pow, pow, pow. And, and then that, he does it enough.
You're just like, what are you doing? That's such a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's such a bad idea.
And Boyega's out there. By the way.
But I liked, it was interesting because it was just like, when you're that frustrated, you do crazy shit like that.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, I'm like, again, I have no idea. But like, yes, at the height of stress and the height of feeling powerless and the height of feeling unfairness and the height of the moments in my life where I felt not that, but something like that. Yeah. You just go, that's what addictions are. That's what, that's where you do things that like don't make sense because you're dealing with shit that you just can't deal with.
Yeah.
And you go, I have some fucking power.
Yeah.
I have something. I can express my image. It really is. It's crazy. But hey, the way it transitioned from him shaking with the tear to 100% still and dead was kind of amazing. When he was shaking, I'm like, well, this can't be the death scene. There's too much activity. Stops cold. It seems so real.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Starter Pistol played Eazy-E. Oh, he was so fucking good.
Oh, who is that? He's amazing.
That's why I fucking loved Easy in that movie. That dude was amazing. That movie was great.
I need to watch that. Yeah.
You not seen it? Oh, those performances.
Yeah. Fucking
great.
Even Ice Cube's son.
Ice Cube's son is very good.
Yeah.
But like I'll say I was moved. Oh, gosh, that movie, I forgot about it. Easy, the guy who plays Easy, Eazy-E. That performance is fucking amazing. That dude is great. That it's the same guy. I gotta find that guy's name because I learned it back then and I forgot it. And I didn't even recognize him. He pulls off like the swagger and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's just the thrill of watching a guy who watching Ice Cube's son play Ice Cube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. That's why I was curious. I was like, "That's great," but I was like, "Is he?"
And there are these great moments. There's like a scene, like they've got a song. He's got like a hit back song. Like Ice Cube has a song where he's like hitting back at it. It's like basically a beef song essentially. Is it Set It Off? No, what's it called? I can't even remember. But when he raps that, it's fucking awesome. So great. And you're just like, this is awesome.
Jason Mitchell.
Yeah, who the heck is that dude? That dude's amazing.
American actor, straight out of Compton. He started in Conk, Skull Island. And...
Oh, Mudbound! I want to watch Mudbound. We almost watched Mudbound. Jason Mitchell, yeah. The guy who played Dre, who's also very good, was in what?
In 2019, Mitchell was dropped from a number of projects, including Desperados and The Chi, in the wake of multiple allegations of misconduct.
Son of a bitch.
Well, I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Well, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, she's a starter pistol. Slightly prior to that, we've been introduced to John Boyega, who is like, he comes home and then picks up the phone rings, he picks it up and he goes, "What? No, I just did a double." And he's like, "Oh, I got to go back in." And she's like, hangs up. Mom's there for exposition, but it works fine. So she's like, didn't you just get off work?" He's like, "I got 2 jobs, Mom, 2 bosses." And he's like, I got to go back out because of the riots. He's got to go do security. And so he goes and plays security. And he works security at this place, just this store or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I was confused about that.
But he just works there. And then there's the other guy, and he's like, and then he sees what's going on out there. The fucking National Guard shows up. Who I guess in retrospect it ends up being the same dude. That guy, the guy he talks to, yeah. And he's like, all right. And John Boyega plays this role where he's like, I mean, I don't mean plays this role, but I mean like his character plays this role. This guy, that character in his life takes the role of like just keeping everybody cool and safe. And there's this really great scene and very, very demonstrative scene that is very demonstrative of that, where there's this kid who comes around the corner, and is it cops or is it National Guard? I can't remember. They grab him. I think it's cops. This kid comes out of a store. He's like, "What are you doing? It's past curfew."
He's like, "Get off my fucking street." Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "You know what time it is?" He's like, "No, man, I don't have a watch. How am I supposed to know what time it is?" He's like, "You get over here, fucking, you know what it is." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Leave me the fuck alone, man. Whatever." And then and this kid is like 16, 17, looks like, or maybe 18. But and John Boyega sees that going down, goes out. And he's like, "Hold on." He goes up and he's like, "Hey, it's my cousin, man. It's my cousin." Or he's my nephew. He's like, "Don't." He's like, I got him. We're gonna take him off. He's like, "Man, fuck off me. I'm not your nephew." And he's like, just keep walking, look straight ahead. And he's like this. I mean, he's this guy who has learned to just sort of be a peacemaker and be cool and be whatever, but also just very, you know what I mean? Like he's playing both sides, sort of. I mean, not in that sense, but he's just like, he saves people.
He's kind of playing both sides, but it's more like
he's not playing both sides, but
he believes at that point still in the he believes in the justice
law and order,
of law and order.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good,
and I think but he's still kind of idealistic about that.
So that's interesting, because I definitely believe that, like I think as a personal, I mean, he's a security guard. He kind of there's part of him that is like, he's like, I'm, you know, he's just good. He's like a good person. He believes in keeping people safe, and I guess, but I don't necessarily, and he does. You don't really ever get this. There's not ever. I didn't necessarily get that he like trusted the police. I got that he was like, this is what needs to happen to keep you safe. We need to put on this.
I thought the same thing, but then when he's upstairs searching the room at the Algiers for the gun, he takes that one kid off the wall, and he's like, because they're beating the shit out of him. And he's like, he does the same thing where he's just like, I'm going to take him with me. He can help me search the room.
Yeah. And they have that scene about the riot, the shotgun.
And so they're looking for the gun, and he's like, there's no gun, man. But he said something very specific where he was like, it was almost like he was like, they're saying there's got to be something here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he was there and he heard a gunshot.
Yeah, he was like, what? They're looking for a sniper. But the way it was a very specific line. Yeah. And it made me think, I was like, oh, you still hold on to this notion.
Yeah.
That Law and Order is he's like, inherently good Like, there's not a capability. Like, I think no, that's not true.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that.
And he has a line. He has a line where because he goes. He's like, man, they took the gun away from me. He's like that shotgun. He's like, the shotgun they carry. It's like the one you carry. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you hold it tight with both hands, right? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, how is he gonna get it? How am I gonna get it away from you?
That's what it was.
And he goes. He looks at him. And he goes, a lot of ways. And I go, but to me, like that, yeah. On the surface, it's like a lot of ways. It could have happened, right? But he's not even. I don't even know if he believes that. I don't think he necessarily believes that. I think he's going the way in which he's playing both sides is he's like, I'm keeping you calm. I'm keeping you calm. Because like,
well, survive the night. That's his big.
Yeah.
That's the line
oh
he says,
gosh,
yeah.
what a
Just
thing.
survive the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
And I think a lot of his.
There was one other line that threw me though, because it wasn't that one. He said something about looking for the gun. It wasn't they're looking for a sniper. It was something. I don't know.
He's like, these cops are good guys.
Yeah. No, I
I'm just joking.
I know he didn't think that they were good guys.
No, I know.
And frankly, I understood his situation completely, where I was like, okay, I can understand you feel very hamstrung here, where you can't say anything or do anything without fearing for your own life.
Yeah. Yeah, because, oh man, you feel it the whole time where you're like...
I was like, just fucking... Which wasn't, it was frustrating, but that's the point.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. They were like, you should be frustrated.
And it's true.
This fucking happened and no one stepped up.
Yeah. And he's see, but the reason he sounds like he believes that there was a sniper is he was there and he heard the gunshot. Like,
yeah, it was a line.
He also believes
it was just a one-off line he said about something about the gun.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, oh, are you really looking for a gun?
Well, I think so, because again, he was standing there when there were gunshots in the house. He heard it as well.
But I'm trying to think in the context of the movie at that point, they hadn't found a gun.
But he knows it. He knows something happened.
Maybe he was just looking for a gun, like any gun. I was a little confused as to what his motivation was. Like, I know he doesn't trust the cops, but like, I was a little confused as to what his end game for that scene was. What was he going to do when he came downstairs?
Well, I think it becomes that he's just trying to get everybody out of there safely.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I think he's kind of got this sort of like...
Well, I think he thought there was a sniper too.
That's what I'm saying.
But
after a while, that doesn't matter anymore because this is crazy.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, so if he finds a gun, okay, then what's his next step there? Because
like, is he gonna turn the guy in?
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, well then someone's going down in this room, in this building.
And I think, but
maybe he didn't know.
I mean, I think at that
he was just thinking, it's like, well, I'll find a gun. If I find a gun, then we'll figure that shit
out.
And
I also think he's the kind of dude, at least in from the part of his life that we see, like he's the kind of dude who's like, if there's action, I'm gonna be there because I'm the only person who's cool-headed enough to keep everybody safe. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing. John Boyega, by the way.
A lot of my Go ahead. I was just going to say a lot of my critiques here are more of like, well, I don't understand his motivation as a character in a movie. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
it's a historical thing.
That's
so
true.
Maybe he didn't know what the fuck he was. He was just like, literally, okay, I'm going to help this guy out. I'm going to tell him we're going to go find a gun.
Yeah.
I have no clue if there's a gun up there.
Yeah.
I hope there's a gun up there.
Yeah.
Do I hope there's a gun up there?
Yeah, exactly. I think ultimately if they found a gun, I think he was just gonna be like, look, find the person. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you got to put that gun to somebody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know if he was just kind of like, but maybe he's just like across that bridge, that shitty bridge when we come to it.
Right.
But he's like, but ultimately,
I got them to stop beating the shit out of him.
Yeah. So. Well, and also, but I think if he finds the gun, he goes, cool, this guy's under arrest. Maybe he had some hope that was going to happen. I mean, maybe. Because they're fucking shooting people
for looking for a gun
to get a confession, and they're doing it out of fear. It's fucking terrorism.
Yeah.
It's literal terrorism.
Yeah.
But
sorry, you were saying something.
Well, I just was going to say that I was just going to take a moment and go like John Boyega's performance. He's fucking amazing.
When they interrogate
I love him so much.
When they interrogate him the next night or the next day about what happened, and they're like, well, we're in phase 2. We're looking at suspects.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he realizes that they're trying to pin it on him.
Yeah. Because they make a point of it. They go like, what phase are we in? Do you remember?
And it's just another thing of like, a lot of the writing was just like, every person is so gosh darn evil. And I'm like,
but here's the thing.
I'm like, there is a lot of people like that, and certainly back then. And maybe that's just me having a hard time accepting
humanity.
Humanity. Wow. Maybe that's just me. But when there's just so much, like, it was just over the top stuff. Like they bring him in there and they're just like, what are we gonna do here? Yeah. But we're gonna fucking pin it on him. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
I agree, but here's the thing. Like I thought the same thing in that scene, but then I go, they're trying to get a confession. Are they pumping up the volume on that shit?
Yeah.
And later,
his reactions to it is priceless.
It's great. Boyega's amazing, and I was like, it's crazy because I've seen Attack the Block, and I've seen Star Wars, and Attack the Block. He's good, but he's kind of just like it's a different performance. He's like I'm a tough guy, whatever, and you go like cool, and everyone's tough and cool and that, and it's very stylized and whatever. But Star Wars is fucking Star Wars, and we talked about this where it's like you can take a great actor and a shitty actor, put him in Star Wars, and they're the same, and you go you watch them in a Star Wars movie, you go cool, I can't wait to see you in a movie to see what kind of an actor you are, because it doesn't even matter.
You're like it's commercial acting. It's commercial acting through and through.
Because even through different directors and different eras of Star Wars, it just goes like, when you're in a Star Wars movie, no one's really acting, and we don't know what to expect. Who knows?
Which is
Sir Alec Guinness is the only one.
Excuse me, Adam Driver in those movies is amazing.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's the only one, in my opinion.
And
yeah, he's good.
And Sir Alec Guinness,
fair,
I think. And it's like that guy. I mean. And Aunt Beru.
Okay.
Come on.
Luke!
Gosh, every time. No, but yeah, Boyega is just unbelievable. But later, like one of those cops, because I kind of had to, and I go like, wait a second, because I'm like, I go, cool. Are they pushing this, and even the racism angle to be like, that's a credible threat. That's a fear tactic to get an interrogation out of him. I mean, to get a confession out of him. I was like, not that they're not also racist, but it's like, is that a thing that they're doing? Because later, I feel like one of the same cops is like glaring at that same cop is glaring at the white police officers who are assholes. Yeah. And so he's just kind of like, I'm playing whatever angle I can. And then you go, so this is whatever.
And this is also touchy that I'm like, well, if it's fucking in there, then I have to assume. I'm like, I have to lean to the movie, not to the movie, and be like, I'm assuming you've done your due diligence here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that is somewhat truthful.
Peru could still get it. But then by that token, then it's like, okay, so are we saying then that this virulently, just this vile, brutal, barbaric dude who leads the whole fucking thing, who's like, we need to protect the people of this city from the people who are looting and burning the city. Does that then go like, oh, and he's doing this thing where he's like fake shooting people, but not really shooting them, even though he really fucking shot the first dude in that first when the first guy was running away before all this stuff happened.
Yeah, when he shot that.
I went, oh!
He shot his
I go, you don't shoot people for stealing.
He shot another guy, his second person, in the back. I was like, oh, you've learned nothing.
Yeah.
He literally shot another guy in the back.
Yeah, that's true.
Like later that day.
Yeah, that's true. And then you go.
And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, it's because he knows he's being pulled up on murder charges. So I was like, oh fuck. So is he just like going for it? Because he's like, well, I'm going to jail anyways.
Well, I think that dude is like a.
But then he got real scared about it. I was like, yeah, dude, you're going to jail for sure.
Yeah.
But then he didn't. Spoiler.
Yeah, but is it a spoiler?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because historically, but also fucking shit.
Yeah, he was so.
But I got
what was interesting to me is after the Algiers, which a lot of horrific shit happens, and they, we can talk about that at length. But like his performance, as terrifying as it was, it got interesting to me after the fact. Because then all of a sudden he's like having to, just to show him trying to grapple. I mean, he was still pretty one note in terms of like, I'm evil.
Yeah. Now I just I don't want to get caught for being evil.
But now I don't want to get caught. And I was like, that's kind of interesting to see. And like, he's so young.
Yeah.
and like boyish looking.
Yeah, he really is.
Which is
interesting. He's got a very powerful voice because he's fucking British.
Yeah.
Because all great actors are British. Gosh darn it.
It made his performance very interesting to watch.
Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say is, sorry. Boy. Well, here. So we'll talk about him because there's like, because if you and you don't have to, but like the inclusion of that interrogation cop staring at those white dudes, at those white cops.
I liked that moment
a
lot.
You go, okay, cool. Does he? But then also are they coming down on them because they're coming down on him? Because they believe he may have had a part in it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you go like, oh, you're dealing with, now these guys are being shitty to you, but it's because they think you're a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, with Boyega?
Yeah. It's kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're right.
Now you're dealing
so conditioned at that point to be like, oh, this is a race thing.
Yeah, but no.
Now you're like, you're heavily implicated in this entire thing.
And these guys are coming down on you like this, and it's very charged because he's African American and they're not, and they're white. But then you got to go like, wait, but they're coming at him. Where if you take him out of the seat and put one of the other white cops, and you go like, yeah, get that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like scare him as much as you can, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, so are they just coming down on him because are they racist? Are they coming down on him because they think he's bad?
Now I think you're right. I don't think they were. I think that was.
Or are they using racism as a ploy to get a?
I think they were trying to literally do what you're saying, which is rile him up as much as possible to see what comes out. Yeah. They can tell he's genuinely scared because he didn't do it, which explains the look that they give to the three guys because they know that they're pieces of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I think that all, that works.
So then you go, okay, but in that scene, it plays like, man, these guys are dicks. But then you go like, wait, but they're being dicks to get the dicks. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then it's like, but then you go like, wait, so people use, and I can't remember, were they overtly racist or were they just being really tough on him? They're being really tough on him. It felt like racism because but maybe they were both. I can't remember.
Well, I would have to go back, but I'm pretty sure that like they don't use they don't say anything racially.
I didn't think they did.
Yeah. So okay.
But then the other the asshole racist, super asshole racist guy definitely does obviously say things as well as do terrible fucking things. But then when they front load with, and I'm not saying this, but like when they front load with like, we need to save these people from these people, we have failed them. We go, okay, this guy really cares about law and order. And then he goes and does something, and you go, what the fuck? You just shot that dude for no reason. He's like, yeah, because of law and order. And I go, okay. And then he goes and you go, oh, you're being really fucking terrible to everyone and not treating anyone like humans. And then you're saying really racist shit. And then you got like, there's a part because they do that too. You could, if you wanted to, read it like all this racism shit is part of this ploy as well. And he hates them because he thinks they're criminals. But then like,
I don't think it's even that.
Would not be that way.
Weird Afro Sheen.
But is that part of it? Is it part of an act? No, it's not. But,
no, because that's why the exploration of like the white girls and their part in this entire story, it's just they very not subtly. But then that's how racism of this type is really handled. Yeah. It's they're just like, you really like being with a guy like that, or you know what I mean? It's like, how can you stand the smell of there's a lot of stuff like that. I do want to stop real quick, and I want to say the guy, not Will Poulter, but his second in command, for that type of role, I thought he was fucking fantastic.
Really good.
And I loved him when they
scary as shit,
terrifying, and somehow grounded it.
Yeah.
In because he was just quiet about it, which made it more menacing and more real to me instead of just being like this flagrant villain racism.
Yeah.
And then when they're about to go into the interrogation, and he's like, "Do you know what you're gonna say?" And they're talking to the third guy who actually shot someone from Midsummer.
Yeah.
And then he looks over at his buddy. He's like, you know, I fucking know what to say.
He's like, yeah, man, I got it.
Yeah.
He's like, we're cool, you know, whatever.
He said what he said and how he said it. I was like, that's fantastic. And then the best part was after he comes out of the room and the look on his face.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
He didn't say a single word because he was too hurt that he let his buddy down. And the look on his face and the defeat and betrayal was great.
It's like trying to get a 3-hour meeting. What happened to Good Cop, Bad Cop? Both of them were shitty. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, oh man, boy. Like I was saying, like I was like, oh cool. Like I used to think that like when you wanted a boyish young white actor who's really gonna go for the racism, I thought it was just Paul Dano. I thought that was the only guy you could get. But now,
was he racist in something else?
Have you seen 12 Years a Slave? Like, do you remember him in 12 Years a Slave?
I don't remember him in that.
He's like a farmhand. Yeah, he works on I think he works on the farm or whatever. And there's a point at which
I remember him in that.
Oh gosh, there's a point at which he looks. I can't remember what black character, but he like does a dance in a song that is called. He says he's dancing and singing and says "run N-word run," and he's singing it. And I was watching it going, Paul Dano is the only actor on earth who would agree to do that. Not because Paul Dano is in any way racist, and obviously, and I would assume, I mean, just from is very, very much on the other side. But he's just the actor who's like, I'll do the crazy shit. Like Paul Dano will go for it.
Yeah, he's very good.
And then I'm like, this dude, and Paul Dano's like, I could have been more racist than that, more fake racist. Like, oh my gosh, man. Whew.
You know what? That's interesting that you brought that up, because this will help me explain why I had some issues with just how like blindingly one note the cops were. I'm not saying that that's not who they were in real life. I'm not. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah. It's just like when I look at like Fassbender in 12 Years a Slave. Equally monstrous, maybe even more so.
You know, it's weird. I can't really remember Fassbender in that movie.
Really, that's the one thing I remember walking out of that movie and being like, because I really loved that movie because of just the sheer guttural, like it's a very emotional thing, and what made it emotional to me was really his performance, because there's a very horrible scene when he's whipping.
Yeah, I do remember that.
The slave that he secretly is in love with, and she does something wrong and he puts her to the post, and then he's about to whip her and he like raises his whip and he's just screaming and yelling, foaming at the mouth, and he raises his whip and he's about to do it and then he can't, and like the camera just kind of shakily pushes in on his eyes and he can't do it, and like there's just like a lot of like. And granted that they built the whole movie around that dynamic, but so I guess that's what gave him nuance, because like and conflict that read throughout the whole movie, because he was such a monster in that movie.
Yeah.
And yet there were layers to him because he was conflicted, and you could see it all working underneath his performance, bubbling, like just boiling beneath the surface, where it was self-loathing for himself.
Yeah.
But also self-loathing because he just wants to love the person that he wants to love, but he can't because of his intense, like, just biological hatred for a person of another skin color. But it's like, it's all this shit, and you just see it in his eyes. It's not in the words that he's saying. It's what his eyes are saying as he's saying this horrific shit. And that, to me, makes it a successful portrayal. But then you didn't get that here because those characters didn't have that.
Well, and it's two things.
But they didn't have any background at all.
Sure. And it's two things. It's like on the one hand, it's like, there are several things. There are a number of hands. Some people just are that virulently racist sometimes.
Agreed.
Also, and so you want to do justice to that, and you also don't want to go like, well, there's a reason. You don't necessarily want to go like, I guess there's a fear that if you humanize them too much, people go, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Or if you go like, this is where it comes from, and stack. But on the other hand, you go like, if you show monsters, people get to watch this movie and go, well, I'm not that fucking guy.
Yeah.
And they don't examine their own prejudices. Yeah. You go, I'm not that guy, and I'm not that guy. I might be that guy, but that guy, he's like whatever. It's like you just like, cool. I don't have to worry about. I'm not racist. That's racist. Mm-hmm. And where if you give someone something and you go like, look at this, and this is how it happens, and this is where it comes from, and abso-fucking-lutely, it's not anywhere near right, but it comes from somewhere. Like for instance, that guy's a monster. I don't want to meet his dad. What the fuck is that dude's dad like?
Well, that's why I said, like, with the video we did together, that's where I was just like, but that's just the nature of, like, our whole video was centered around that.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie has a lot of other shit on its plate. It's also a historical thing. So it's like, we can't, there's like, well, if we go down that, I completely understand it. It's like, well, we go down that track. Now we're spending the beginning half hour on Will Poulter before he goes crazy, and we explain why he's racist.
And then he becomes almost in a weird way. Like if you spend that much time on him, it's like he's the focus of the movie. He almost becomes the protagonist, sort of. Not the protagonist, but the fucking like.
Which honestly would have been a fucking fast. Like it wouldn't, because to me it wouldn't humanize him. It would make it.
Like just look at this and examine it.
It would be a more brutal examination of what it was if you were like, here's where this comes from.
Yeah.
And then let's watch him do all this horrific shit. And then you still balance it out with all the other characters. I don't know. I just felt like you're not losing. You're only gaining by adding another dimension to him.
Sure. There's also
I really believe that.
I get that. There's also
you should feel conflicted when he does all that shit, and you're like, well, but it's from all that stuff, and I was like, yeah, and he still fucking did like it's still his actions.
Yeah.
His actions are doing these things.
It's interesting, and it's this thing. It's that thing where like when there's, God forbid, when there's a mass shooting, it's become now a practice where they don't talk about the shooter, and they mention the names of the victims, because naturally, I mean, it's human nature to go, this fucking terrible thing happened. A person did that. How? Who is this person? And there's value there because we go, how did that happen? Where did it come from? How do we find this point for other people like that and fix that before it turns into this? The same principle could apply here. But then people are also like, we are giving this person breadth. We're giving him coverage. We're making him well known. We are setting him up for other people to look at.
Well, but the argument there is that
they're going to be copycats.
They're going to be copycats, sure. And they're going to be like, oh, I can become famous for doing this.
Sure.
I'll get my 15 minutes,
sure.
And I'll go down in history.
Yeah.
And that's worth doing it right then and there. So I completely agree with the no name thing, right. And I
agree.
I think it's a great thing. I think it's different with a narrative film.
Sure, absolutely.
It's a ballsier thing, and I don't think it's something that could get easily. I don't. You'd have a hard time getting it financed where it's just like on a major Hollywood movie like this.
Yeah. And especially with,
it would make the movie a little. It would play in the gray area more.
Sure.
Which is what I feel like especially with stuff like this, that's where the world is, where it's just like, I don't think adding another dimension to him is in any way empathetically like endorsing his racism.
I agree.
I categorically don't agree with that.
I agree. I agree with you as well. And I don't think that would have done that. But there's like, the devil's advocate thing is like, there's like people who like watch Taxi Driver and go, yeah. Travis Bickle's a hero.
That's what everyone's up in arms about the new Joker movie, because everyone's worried like that's what's going to happen with that.
Oh, there was a threat that I meant to. Police were investigating a threat of something that someone was going to do something. Like there was apparently some credible threat that someone was going to do something in Austin at a theater that was showing the Joker. I know. I fucking know, right?
I don't want this to turn into a gun control thing, but my God.
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
Because you were like, how do we solve this? I'm like, well, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. I just wish I could, like, I've said a million times, I wish I could just, like, build some sort of thing that was in the same sense, like works like an EMP and just go boom, like every gun is gone.
Yeah.
And they go, now what? Gonna throw them at each other?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I got the biggest one.
Yeah.
You need that? Yeah. Hunt with it. Cool.
Sweaty Cop was somewhat similar to Fast Burning Soldiers. He was the one most upset about the white girls. Well, so it's interesting because there was the one cop, right, the one police officer who kept kind of like ducking out, and he was like, you were kind of like, oh, it's weird. It's Chris Pratt, not Chris Pratt cop.
Yeah, Midsommar.
Yeah, Midsommar. He has a real name,
nah,
but whatever. And then he's out there, and when that leader military guy it's using all these official. When military guy goes,
he's like, oh, something wrong going on?
He's like, that's a constitutional. He's like, that's not.
That's a goddamn travesty.
And he just goes, well, human beings shouldn't be treated like that. I'm not getting involved. See you later. And then it like kind of does a little like documentary zoop in on the dude who's like having a cigarette on not Chris Pratt guy, and he's out there going like, okay. And then he goes back in, and you're like, yeah, okay, cool. You're showing me he's the good guy. And then he goes in. Like almost immediately.
And he kills the guy.
Well, he does that later, but he goes in almost immediately, sees one of the white girls and goes like, "Why do you fuck them? What's wrong with us?" And I go, "All right,
I know.
Okay."
That was so weird.
Because no other part.
So weird.
Yeah.
Because they kept showing and building, and then he came in and he said that, and
I
was
go,
like, all right.
right.
So we're just
so that's his line.
Like that. Because, like, even the National Guard guy, he, like, with the coffee bit at the beginning, he was like, you got any sugar? And I was like, okay, that was a little... Yeah. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand there's levels to it. It's like, one person is not as racist as the other. Cool. And, like, yeah. And I understand that, but, like... And I know it's a historical thing. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't... It's interesting. And it's kind of like...
It was weird. It was terrifying when he came out after killing that guy, though. Yeah. And what he said. Because he was just like, I didn't think I feel weird.
That's true. That's telling because he goes like, I did it. I didn't think I could do it. And you go,
I was just like, oh my. Yeah. That was more terrifying than really anything.
And that's
because his lack of emotion to it. And he was just like, oh man, I didn't think
Yeah, he's like, I did it. And you go, there it is. And that's, I think like, to me, that's a narrative point too. And I'm almost like, because I feel like at some point in this movie, I don't know, some of it's account, but a lot of it almost feels like I'm watching a play that Mark Bowl wrote. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, and I go, that is there, rightfully so, to kind of be like, hey, look what, because this guy, in some ways, had empathy and was a good dude, but then
he was morally conflicted about it.
But he had this, there you go, about murdering other human beings. But he had this moment where he's like, oh, but I draw the line at like, black people, white people having sex, and I'm like, okay, you still suck. But then it's like, but like that dude is like, maybe he's savable. Like maybe like you can work on that part, and because you have this basis of like, you know, I'm a human being and care for other human beings, regardless of. And then it's like, but then that moment goes like, look what happens when you put a virulent racist next to someone who's like on the fence racist, I guess, and then it's like tragedy. But also it's just on baseline, it's like, hey, don't use crazy fucking terrorist tactics. And if you do, but you don't, communicate.
Like
for fuck's sake.
It would have been...
Because then he goes like, we weren't really killing him, we were, man.
It would have been, that line would have worked better if he was the one who like, she gets her head slammed into the, like he smacks her, or like hits her with his gun. And it would have been better for me if, like...
He was the one who did that?
He was the one who, like, she like, I don't know, does something... There's a physical altercation, and he's the one who has to handle it. And then he ends up smacking her, and then he, like, shoves her against the wall. And he's like... And then he just, out of his rage, it just comes out.
And you go, oh, that was there?
And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then... Because then you're just like, oh, yeah. Like, even when you're morally conflicted about it, you can still have it in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's still there sometimes.
Remember when Sweaty took her into the room, was interrogating her, and then he was like, "I'm trying to protect you." That dude is 100% horny and mad. Yeah, definitely true. Yeah, I was like, just don't. Let's not, because I was like, there's gonna be sexual assault entering this picture.
Yeah,
it did not, which good, but I feel like his character was intended to show the deep-seated ideology of the time, yet some could still be conflicted. Sure. Yeah, I'll buy that. What's up, Scorp? Ahoy, ahoy. Ahoy. Can we talk about Anthony Mackie? I fucking love that actor. That dude is amazing. And here's
so good. I'm so bummed that he's Captain America.
Here's.
I mean, I am. I'm just straight bummed because I'm like, oh, great. That's a fantastic actor who's now going to be doing that role for the next 10 years.
Make a lot of money. And maybe he can take some time off and do some indies. Because, like, I fucking love Anthony Mackie. Love him.
Yeah, he's really good.
I was like, Kasha, you know, I was like, oh, I'm watching Detroit. I was like, Anthony Mackie's in it. And she's like, who's that? And I go, or maybe, no, I don't think she was who's that. She was like, oh, he's from like, she's like, oh, I don't like him. He's from the Avengers. And I was like, yeah, that's the fucking problem. Because he's not good in the Avengers. It's not his fault. I mean, he's fine. Who gives a shit? Like,
right.
He's not himself. Like, no one needs to be good. Like, he and Chris Evans are here. Chris Evans is a better actor than he is in the Avengers. I mean, like,
yeah, he is.
And Anthony Mackie way the fuck is. And this here, Hurt Locker, I mean, Half Nelson, I mean, he's just this dude. Like, yeah, man. He's so fucking good. And here, gosh darn it, man. Like, he's so great.
He's not even on screen that long, and he is very, very good.
And that part where it's one of the things, and this was the clip that I saw before I saw this movie that I was like, oh, I want to see it. Because he has that scene where he's like
the green cards or the military cards.
And he's like, look, man. Great. Yeah, he goes, and you just go, gosh darn it. It's so, because Boyega has like this goodness that just radiates out of him. Mm-hmm. And you just go like, yeah, he's so good, but he's good in the sense, and like, this is great. It's a wonderful trait for a human being to have. And it's why he's cast in this like Luke Skywalker role in the Star Wars movies. That's exactly right. And Boyega he's fucking fantastic in this movie. Mackie's just got a different thing where he's equally good, but also got all this stuff. And Boyega's got it too. Boyega's wonderful.
He just felt
they're just different
of that time somehow. Like
Boyega did?
No.
Oh, Mackie. Oh, yeah, he does.
He did. He just felt like he stepped out of a Polaroid. Yeah. Like, it was weird. Like, and I'm not talking about just visually, but like.
And he works so well in Hurt Locker. I wonder if he's military. Yeah. Was just. Oh yeah. Even when he's on the stand, I was like, oh man. I was like, I agree. I was like, he's perfect.
Yeah. It was really something else.
And I don't know if that is. I don't know if maybe he practiced that. Maybe he watched a bunch of. Maybe he even watched. Video of the dude, like maybe he, because I don't know, like I don't.
He went to Juilliard. It's called acting, Laura.
Who, Mackie? He's not even that good in those movies. You're talking about Avengers, yeah. If this is true, is Lobro talking into thin air? Wait, I have a question. Is Jeff live streaming from somewhere, and is he green screened in? No.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Boop. And more importantly, this is true, as Lobo's talking with there. I'd like to split my psyche into two.
Yeah.
And
I'm the visual representation.
He's the Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm the Danny DeVito of my psyche.
That's very true. It's a twin scenario up in here.
He went to Juilliard. It's called acting. Yeah, there's Marvel people. Wait, what do you mean? I know he's called acting. He's fantastic. What do you mean?
Hey, it's called acting.
Yeah, all right, man. He's really good at it.
All right. He went to Juilliard.
But just that scene where he's like, he is so did I think the dude who played Dre in Straight Outta Compton. And he's like, just that he's like, look, man, he's like, I know what you're doing. He's like, I'm not gonna cause any trouble, but I ain't gonna lay down for you either. And I was like,
oh yeah, that was great.
And then it's like, cause he's the one dude who shuts that motherfucker up, because he just goes, all right.
Yeah.
So great. And he's like, okay. And he's like, something. He's like, give me back my government card. And he's like,
that was the best part.
Right. I score. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Gosh. But then even, man, and then he's so great. He's so great. And then he's so great in silence too. Like when they like, you get out of here, and he's like, just don't talk about what you saw. And he just has this, and he takes that in, and you're just like, and you go like, what's he gonna do? And man, it's crazy.
And I heard that.
Oh, he's wondering who's military. No, but he just seems to fit so well. Anyway, whatever.
I heard that in Singer's autobiography, the individual Boyega portrayed did not play such a passive role that was displayed in the film. Like, he was more engaged. Like had a real hand in it.
Interesting.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I meant to read up more on it.
Yeah, some of these characters seem so like cleanly one thing or another that I was like, I bet.
And that's the thing.
And I'm not saying like not saying Boyega like the real person is an asshole. I'm just saying like in this situation under duress, you might like be like, I got to play along for this.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
it's this
I
thing.
think that it was just a little too clean.
Abusively speaking, yeah,
it was a little too clean cut. Where I'm just like, make it a little more like for something as messy as this topic is. Make it a little more messy.
Yeah.
Like it's only honoring it more by blurring the lines of like what racism looks like. It was just like I was like, this is such a textbook look at racism. Yeah. And I didn't feel like I learned anything about what causes it, where it stems from, the socio-political implications and effects that it has on a society. I was just like, yeah, it's a lot of fucking racist people beating up on a lot of powerless victims.
Yeah, man.
And then I'm mad at the end.
Yeah.
And they're like, good. And I'm like, but it's the same issue that I had with Nightingale. Where I'm like, okay.
But I think it's I think
it's a pretty easy thing to do. You can just show me a bunch of horrible shit and then I'm angry about it.
I think there's some technical things at play here where I think certain things would have played differently. And I mean even just on not in these vital moments, but I'm talking about like early, like we talked about early on. There's some pacing things. There's some things. Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I think there are some things that would have made this maybe hit harder for me. But regardless, I feel like
was it more Jim Halpert? Can we talk about that real quick? When he burst into the interrogation room, I was like,
me too.
What?
Me too. And he goes,
I audibly went,
yeah, exactly. He goes, don't say another word. And then he goes, it's not okay to make that joke.
And he's good in it.
He's
but
good.
It's just,
he's good.
It's unfortunate that he was
Jim
like,
Halpert. He was like,
I know he's Jim Halpert.
Yeah. But he's a dick, and he's like, I'll take that.
He's very good.
I'll play against type, and
he's
whatever.
a very talented man.
Yes, he is. But
there isn't much that happens in this that surprised me. It all played out pretty much as you expect from something like the only thing that really stood out were some of the performances.
Yeah, Poulter was freaking great.
Yeah.
Mackie was freaking great. Boyega was freaking
Honestly,
great.
The performances across the board were phenomenal.
Yeah, that's true. Gosh.
On a technical level, it's just fantastic. But like with most Bigelow movies, it comes down to the script. And I just have issues.
I had some script issues
with the script.
I agree. But I think
she's still such a director that's why when I came over, I was like, she directed the fuck out of it, because she still managed to take something that on a script level, if I read it, I'd be like, this is pretty clunky, guys. Like, it's pretty one note, like across the board. And she's like, yeah, but watch this, Bigelow. I'm like, that's pretty visceral. Yeah. A little ride you took me on.
Yeah.
Like, you mad? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I was really upset when the one thing that I was like, I don't know if it's true. It's kind of big, but I still liked it. Was when Poulter, after he gets free and Boyega comes up to him, and he's like, "But you know what, man? You're still a good dude. Still a good dude." And he just looks at me, didn't say anything, walks outside, and he throws up.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, totally. Definitely. Oh, and we were saying about that.
You're a solid guy.
Yeah, solid guy. He says, oh. He's like, you're still a solid guy. And he goes, really? And like, that's the thing is Poulter, like, that dude embodied it. Like when he, like he meant that as a compliment.
He did.
He meant it. I think at first he was just fucking with him. Not fucking with him, but like, just like, cause he's all twisted up in there. But then ultimately he was like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
And that's what made
it works on so many levels, because he was just like, goes, you're a solid guy.
He's like, don't put me on your fucking team.
In his terms, he was like, you're a solid guy for being a black guy, is what he was saying on one level. And then on another level, he was like, but also I really think you're a solid guy and I'm a monster, which is the other thing. Yeah. And you're just like, well, also both of those are horrifying.
He's like, thanks for doing your job with us.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't fucking put, and that's it. That's where he goes like, oh. And it's just, it's yeah. But I mean, like, I think you're right in terms of like what you were saying. Oh no, sorry, Isosceles. Like, I think including a scene where, because I think you could have included a scene where he, like, Boyega's, he's like hit him, You know, like he makes Boyega like he goes.
I feel like it would have been like, so interesting.
Yeah, and I think Boyega would have been like whatever, and like who knows what he would have done. But even if he had done it, I would have been like, yeah, that still doesn't make him like you fucking guys.
I know, like it would have been much more tragic if, and especially if that really did happen, and they just felt the need to make it much more clean like that. Because if he really did have to, like, he hit someone like with the butt of a gun or whatever, like to show that, and then to show like the tragedy of not standing up for what you believe in.
Well, that's why he fucking vomited at the end.
Yeah, because of fear and whatnot. Yeah. Like, it's a real tragic.
Or like fear of having to like, or like, how do I play this to make sure everyone gets out alive? Like, it's absolutely.
Because it was weird. Like
strategy. Fuck.
Because you know his performance was great, but his character, it's just like I felt like his character was written to be like, yeah, he's a good. Like, we want you to root for this guy.
100%. And so that when
when he showed up and he's like put on trial, I'm like,
you mean interrogated?
And interrogated and all that. It's just like, I wanted to see if that's true. Then I wanted to see that, and I feel like that's a pretty big mistake that they didn't put that in.
Sure.
And I don't like that. Yeah. Because then his character, the entire basis of his character, he's not like the cool under pressure trying to keep everything cool. He's scared, and he's on some level there's a variation of cowardice going on there that you could explore and empathize with and understand. Yeah. But that could honestly be the face of like for the audience, be like, here's your in, because this is what happens when you don't stand up.
Because and here's the thing. Well, and to me, I think it's like
and choose to and if they showed it, engage in.
But and it's an interesting thing. Well, to me, it's an interesting thing to play with, because he's going like, because his character is like, play it smart, play it cool, play it smart, play it cool, play it smart. And what happens when play it smart means take in this direct order?
Yeah.
And do it?
Yeah. Or
endanger yourself and everyone else. And then he goes, now I've got to deal with that.
That's I really want to read up on that, because if it's true, I'm like, there's your fucking movie. Yeah. Like, you can wrap it all around the Angiers and this Detroit City, but that's your movie.
Yeah. Well, and what a fucking just diabolical thing to do to someone. You know what I mean? Like to
put him in that situation in the first place.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what made that. It would make it an ultimate tragic, like, and it would speak to on a societal level, but you would still have your in with one character to show the human level of it. If that's true, that's what I would have done, like, without question.
Also, just as I know, the guy who played the kid's father, I wanted to talk about this. The one who gets shot plays Chris Partlow on The Wire, which is one of the most chilling villains I've ever seen in a TV show or movie. Interesting. And I was going to say,
who is he on The Wire?
Chris Partlow.
What season? I've seen all seasons except for 5.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm cool.
Yeah.
I've also seen Breaking Bad. 3, 4, and 5. Marlowe's Enforcer. Show me a screenshot.
Remember Chris and Snoop?
Google The Wire. Do it in blog. Do that thing where you pull up stuff really quickly.
With that Australian internet. Is it? Am I so in discussing a movie?
You're racist against Australians.
In discussing a movie about racism.
Remember Chris and Snoop? Yes.
He's Chris. I guess.
This makes me want to go watch. Oh, you're so fast. Oh, fuck! Damn, that didn't even look like him. Wow. Oh, yeah, that dude was chilling. He was very good.
Interesting.
This makes me want to go home and watch The Wire.
He's the guy in the foreground, not the guy in the background. Right?
We're talking about this guy.
I know, I'm just joking. Yeah, you're right. Good.
You don't recognize? That's what he looks like close up too.
It's terrifying.
He's just a blur. He looks like Slender Man.
Well, I wanted to say, wife asked, is he going to start playing? Oh, a video game? Not tonight. But I was going to say that was the moment where I felt the rage, because that's what made it real. Was his getting the call and then dealing with that. The father, the aftermath. That's what made that all of that real. Mm-hmm. The parents dealing with it. That made it real, and I think that the inclusion of that is. If they had more of that, if they'd done that 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, I wouldn't have had an issue with it, because it would have just been. And
that actually would have been.
Because that was so powerful, and that dude.
It would have been powerful to show it, just keep showing it,
man.
Just keep showing it.
That's what I'm saying.
Just keep showing it, yeah. Just repeatedly until.
Because then,
and
as a viewer, you go like, "Are we doing this? How dare I even?"
Yeah.
Because that's the fucking point, man. Because that's how many fucking families were affected.
Yeah.
Shoot, even the
that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good ideas here.
Yeah, and the reporter goes, How does it feel losing your son? And like the way that guy delivered it, I was like, I mean, like that's how they wanted him to deliver it. It's not, but it's
terrible
just,
pain.
It's good. Yeah, fuck, man. And when he goes, man, when she calls and when she says that, goodness gracious, I can't. It's terrifying. And then when the wife calls and he goes, no, it can't be. He's at home. He's like, it's not him. It's got to be someone else's mistake. Hangs up.
Yeah.
And then like the way he like almost imperceptibly struggles to put his glasses back on.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, dude.
I'm saying a lot because
That's where I kind of was like, that's where it hit me.
Yeah, I just feel like they could have. Now that we're talking about all this, I'm almost like. It almost feels weird to me, that they chose to book in the movie. Like they were like, our emotional core is going to be the singer.
Well, that's what I thought.
Instead of Boyega or just anyone else that like really had some genuine. Yeah, now that we've unpacked it completely, I'm just like, that doesn't.
I felt that so much because I was like, because
I didn't have an emotional response to this,
When they start,
I feel like I could have if they had done anything that you're saying.
And then when they're following him, like I was like, is he the main character? Because we've gotten a lot of characters. And it was weird. It's Boyega
because they really leaned on him towards the end.
And I get it, and it's a real. And what a fucking tragedy to be that close and then have this happen. Mm. I mean, it's like, it's like, goodness gracious, like it's people losing. I don't want to make comparisons or anything, but it's like people losing their livelihood and then the Holocaust happening. I know that millions and millions more people. I mean, that many more people died, obviously, but it's like. Not only, we had this livelihood or had something, and then this unimaginable, soul-breaking, life-changing tragedy happens. And so not only were you about but it's like oh my gosh, and I'm not trying to, but it's at the end of the day, like his thing was, I want a record deal. I didn't get a record deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like, all right.
And I'm not minimizing that, but I'm also like, I was wrenched when it was like, I lost my son. Mm-hmm. And not only that, I have to deal with the implications of why I lost my son. Mm-hmm. And that is the world that I live in. That is the world my remaining children live in. And it is something that I've dealt with, but I made it through, so I thought my son would have been would have been safe.
But it's, and it's it's because it shows it, and like that stuff all lands, and it's all very impactful.
And then Boyega had this very interesting thing. I don't know.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it is important, and I think it is impactful to show that he had a dream, and it was everything to him.
100%.
And he lost his ambition to pursue his dream because of this horrific incident, and his life was taken away from him.
Yes,
and then the worst part is that he has stolen, and then now he has to continue to go on living.
And I don't think and the thing is, like, I think he still has the ambition, but it's shut off. Or he's just like, I can't.
I'm just saying, like, his ambition is stolen from him
100%.
because he can no longer do it. Because what he says is, he's just like, I can't play for them anymore.
Absolutely.
So my ambition for this is no longer what it needs to be, because I can't play by those rules anymore. Yeah. And now he's eating soup out of a cooking pot.
Yeah. How do you go on living after that not guilty verdict? Exactly. And the thing is, this is the fucking thing. And this is we need a movie that drives this home, and I guess whatever, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know how you go on living after a not guilty verdict. There are countless people who know how you go on living after a not guilty verdict because they fucking had to. And it's just something I won't understand, even if I.
People got so upset when Did you see the OJ documentary series on ESPN? No. Best documentary series I've ever seen. And it explores OJ's the trial and the murder and everything, but that is just one facet of it, because it explores the LA riots and the history of racism in our country on like a micro and macro scale, and that's why it's like 10 episodes, and it's phenomenal, and it deserved whatever Golden Globe. It won everything, and it had every right to, because it used OJ and explored that fully, but then that was just the seedling to explore all this other stuff. And what was one of the most interesting things was how people, like the black community, really cheered. There was a lot of evidence. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of footage on when the not guilty verdict was delivered. Yeah, they were like, people couldn't understand it. It was like, you're not understanding where we're coming from. Yeah, we deal with that. Yeah. Every single day. Yeah. This just happened with Rodney King like 2-3 years ago. Yeah. You know, like, we deal with this on a day-to-day basis. So it was like, you don't understand. It's not whether he did or did it. Yeah. And whether we think he's guilty or not. It's what it means. It's to us. It's like, it's one of ours. And how beating the system for once.
And how fucked up is that?
And that's.
How fucked up is it that it's like, we got one?
It's beyond fucked up, but that's
what it is.
But that's what's so fascinating about it.
Oh, and I'm not fucked up on the part of the African American community.
Well, just the situation as a whole is like, that's where we're at.
That we're keeping score.
Right.
That we're going.
And that something as tragic as that, and that true that is a victory. You know, like,
perfect illustration of classism. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's also racism is definitely a fucking thing.
His was different because it was not only that he was rich, but that he was famous, and the documentary certainly made a case that
white people really liked him.
White people really liked him because he acted quote unquote white.
Oh wow!
With his Hertz commercials and blah blah blah, and
he embraced
that. He embraced white culture, whatever that means.
You know what, man? You know what?
You should watch that. It's very good.
Boy, the fact, I mean, what you just said about the scope of it that's fucking crazy. That's awesome. It's crazy is like because I think I was too young and I got into football a little later. Primarily, I knew O.J. Simpson from The Naked Gun.
Right, me too.
And I was like, that guy? Oh, yeah, fucking Nordberg.
I didn't really know him. I think I'd seen him in Naked Gun. Nordberg. Yeah. But I just remember watching Seinfeld, like a new episode of Seinfeld, on Thursday night. Yeah. And then it being interrupted, or the episode had just ended, and then it was supposed to be Frasier. Yeah. And then it got interrupted, and then I was just like, what? And it was just the V. It was just the V of police cars with the Bronco in front.
So that's interesting, because I remember wanting to watch I think it was the NBA Finals and the NBA playoffs. It was the Houston Rockets. And I was like, cool. And then it just was like, sorry, you thought you were going to watch the Rockets game. And then it just goes White Bronco.
Yeah.
For hours. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I wish we could do a Seinfeld on Filmography. There are so many of that show that fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a hardcore Seinfeld cinephile? Because I got it bad.
Seinfeld's great. I always watched it when it was on. I always enjoyed it.
I think I've watched me too. I think I've watched every single episode from season 1 to season 9 at least 20 times.
I feel like, for me, for landmark shows of the 90s, it's like Simpsons, and I'm purposely putting my hand off the screen, and then like,
what's below
Seinfeld?
Would it for real be your number 2?
Oh, I'm just saying of the 3 that I'm about to mention.
Oh, okay.
And then Friends.
Okay, cool.
I mean, those are the 3 biggest shows of the 90s. I feel
that's true.
I
was a huge Frasier.
Oh, Frasier's fucking great.
Frasier, I would put Seinfeld.
There's tons of stuff.
And then, but I would put Frasier like maybe right below. But just mainly because Seinfeld from 1 to 9, it never loses its luster. Like it went out strong.
The 90s were the golden age.
Frasier lost some steam.
To me, the 90s were the golden age of sitcoms.
Yeah.
Because you had like, even stuff that people just don't even remember existed and that I don't remember existed, like News Radio.
News Radio, Wings.
Yeah, Wings. Wings of all things. Wings is like, even just these like also ran ones are fucking fantastic. Mad About You is insane.
Love Mad About You.
Home Improvement is fucking great.
Home Improvement is still great.
Home Improvement is
I watched Home Improvement.
That's like maybe the best of the like Father Knows Best kind of whatever. Like it's fucking great.
It holds up really well.
100%. Like, what is it? Like Will and Grace? Will and Grace is...
Never watched Will and Grace.
It's amazing.
Really?
It's one of the funniest sitcoms of all time. Absolutely.
I'll have to check that one
It's so great. Ned and Stacy, which Charlie Kaufman wrote for.
Oh, I don't know that one.
You ever watch The Single Guy? I mean, there was even stuff like Grace Under Fire, Roseanne. I mean, Grace Under Fire was great.
Yeah, I missed Roseanne. I don't think my parents let me watch that one.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons for a long time.
The Single, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Right?
300,000 views. It's just it's the simple ideas.
It deserves everyone. That's great. Thank you, internet. Yeah.
Remember when Kramer sliding out of the luggage chute? Oh yeah, I love the airport episode. Gotta run like a man with your knees up.
Yes, I always appreciated Seinfeld. Yeah, good.
It's very smart writing.
Good. I'm like, yeah, good. It always works. And then it comes back around, and I go, nice little like.
Yeah, they were very good about that.
It's like a very well. Seinfeld is like a well constructed joke. It just goes open and shut, bam.
Yeah.
And I go, that's good. And I go, great.
I loved Frasier. The best episodes of Frasier were
they're great.
They were like plays where it was
that's a really good way to put it.
Like it would be like, okay, Niles and Frasier are it's the night of they bought a restaurant and it's the opening night of the restaurant. And then
they bought a restaurant?
Yeah, and it's one of the best episodes because it's just it's okay. Frasier, it starts off with like Frasier saying something to the chef and he quits. So all of a sudden they don't have a chef. So now they have to take over the duties of the chef, and that puts everything, and it just builds and builds and builds in terms of like everything going wrong until it finally just explodes at the end. And they have many episodes where it has this just like people going in one door while another person goes out another door, and it has this dance quality to it, and it's beautiful.
Man, Frasier, that fact that you just like told me the protagonists of that show bought a restaurant. That drove home the point. Like in the 90s. Mm-hmm. As much as I love the 90s and everything, is the only people who existed were rich people. Even
the fact that Frasier was a successful show that went for 11 seasons, it is about a rich, it's about
great
hyper rich psychiatrists living in Seattle, and their uppity, tete-a-tetes that they would have with
and their
each
dad
other.
who's going like, hilarious. You guys are rich, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Stop being weird and rich.
Oh,
I love John Mahoney. Yeah. But it's true, like, and we've talked about this before, and of course this is our our weekly tangent that has literally nothing to do with anything. But it's like, but in the 90s, like, yeah, you watch like Father of the Bride, and he's like, oh, my problem, I gotta pay for my daughter's wedding.
He's like, your house is the size of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I go, what the fuck do you do? Home Alone, the house is gigantic.
Home Alone's house. Oh, it's such a beautiful house. That's one of the most beautiful houses I've ever seen in my life.
Like, name a movie. It's just a run-of-the-mill movie about that just does nothing to do with any of that. It's a movie where the kids. They're fucking rich as shit. Yeah. The kid's dad comes back as a dog. They're super rich. Yeah. Doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. They just have, and you go like, what? They're like, they're a lawyer, or they're an advertising exec. They just mention it. Who cares? It doesn't have anything to do with the movie at all. But they just have a gigantic house and a fantastic car, and they're like, oh, our problems. It's weird. Because, like, and you're just supposed to be like,
it's like if we filmed in what a normal apartment or house looks like, it is so gosh darn boring. Yeah. It is so boring.
Yeah.
Even like good houses. Like houses you're like, oh yeah, I would definitely want to live here. You're like, oh, but I would never want to film here.
Yeah.
Very boring.
Yeah. I just remember watching those movies and being like, or at least, and maybe as an adult, and I watched them and I go like, what do you do? I resent, you're never at work. Yeah. You're never working. Yeah. And you have that house? Mm-hmm. You don't get to not be at work and have that house. Like, it's crazy.
What did Macaulay Culkin's dad do?
I don't think anyone does.
Because he also took his family on
Paris.
His extended family too. Like, he paid for all of it.
Yeah, 100%.
That must have cost $50,000. Because he went to Paris.
Whatever.
And he paid for like 14 people.
Yeah. Yeah. No wonder they were trying to rob the house. They should. Macaulay Culkin is the Lindbergh baby. You should you should have taken him.
He was.
That's a terrible.
He was a Lindbergh baby.
The keyboard he uses.
Ferris Bueller, yeah.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's super fucking rich. And then even the sitcoms that were about like Tim Allen is like, oh, you got this working class. No, he's a fucking TV star. He's got a huge ass house. Then they go Roseanne. Roseanne's the poor one, and you go, it's like never about the problems of a.
Was it? Oh, I thought that's what.
And maybe sometimes it would, but I don't remember any of the ones that like that. I don't really remember much about anything where they were like, I mean, they would show them doing bills. Yeah. And they'd be worried, but like
Grace Under Fire was kind of like that.
Grace Under Fire, but like still their house was not.
They don't want to. They're like, it's still funny. It's still comedy.
It's gonna look great and still gonna like whatever, and everything's gonna be fine, and like it's not gonna be about money.
Like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, be realistic. Make that a little smaller.
The Simpsons are poor, and they talk about that. I think Married with Children, they were poor, and they talked about that. I think, I was never
allowed to watch Married with Children.
Yeah. I think Roseanne, what's up, dang it's me? How you doing? I think maybe Roseanne, I'm not giving them enough credit. But the big episodes I remember were never about that. But they tackled social issues, too. They were like...
I would like to watch Roseanne.
Roseanne's great. Oh, Roseanne's really great.
Yeah. Is Married with Children good?
It is its own thing.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes, and I was just like, and I mean, as a kid, I was just like, oh, I'm not allowed to watch this. I don't think I want to.
Yeah, I'll say that. Like, I like Ed O'Neill as an actor, because I've seen him in other things.
Yeah,
I saw that, and I was like, this guy's. I mean, he's doing it's incredibly stylized, but and he goes, yeah, Peg, what do you? I don't want to, like, the stuff they have him doing. But also the way he plays it. I mean, he's a cartoon character.
Yeah. I mean, his wife is just like all hair.
Yeah. And then I see him in like he's got like a supporting role, but he just pops up a couple times in Blue Chips, and I'm like, he's great.
Yeah, I remember seeing him as like a straight like playing it straight as a cop or a detective in some highly dramatic movie, and be like, what the fuck?
He's good. You've seen him in Modern Family. He's good. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's very good.
Not in Married Children, because everyone is an idiot in Married Children. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, Al. I mean, it's just like...
Oh, yeah.
You have to keep every receipt. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Because of Roseanne, sure. Yeah. Smee, how you doing, man? So, yeah, I don't know. So any, I mean, well, here, let me go through the old list of notes that I made about.
Do you keep your receipts? You're not this state.
Yeah, we're not in Australia.
But yeah, you do have to go through your like, it's like bank statements or so. Yeah, doing your taxes is a pain.
Yeah. Okay, I have to respond to this thing. Crazy. Okay, cool.
Remember, I just want to keep talking about shows now.
Yeah.
Remember Boy Meets World?
Yeah. Super rich.
Yeah.
Big ass house.
Huge house.
Huge fucking house.
Huge house.
They lived next door to it.
Sean didn't have a huge house. He lived with the male teacher.
Yeah.
Which was weird. We started rewatching it recently.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's inappropriate.
Huge ass house.
That's totally inappropriate. Why? He's just like, he's cool because the teacher has a leather jacket and like long curly hair.
Oh, that teacher.
But he's just like, Sean, you seem troubled.
Yeah.
You seem troubled. Come live with me.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. And you're like,
what did that guy teach? Math? History? What did that guy teach? English?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Mr. Feeney taught English.
Oh yeah, Feeney. Wait, I thought Feeney was the principal.
No, Feeney's a teacher. Feeney's English teacher.
He was the principal.
Feeney?
Yeah. He might have taught it
maybe eventually.
He was the principal from the get-go.
No way.
Remember Topanga? Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a crush on Topanga.
Yeah, man.
I had a real crush on Topanga.
But who was that?
Will Friedle, like his
Friedle,
brother?
yeah.
Friedle?
Yeah. Sorry. Voice of Ron Stoppable and Kim Possible.
You remember that movie, Trojan War?
With Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yeah.
Did you have a Jennifer Love Hewitt thing?
Yes. Well, I don't know where that hand's been.
Well.
Do you see that? Now we're just doing. Anytime I say I get into this pattern, I just think of that South Park episode where they find the remember berries or remember this, because I think it was a whole episode about.
Yeah, what were the remember berries? I mean, I've seen clips of it. I'm like, why were they berries?
The nostalgia crazes.
Yeah. But what is that? So what is that guy who was cut from the same cloth as Chris? What's his face from Northern Exposure?
Never saw Northern Exposure.
Oh, his name was Chris in Northern Exposure. The guy's name was John. You never saw Northern Exposure? Oh, you should.
Is that a show?
Yeah, it's a great show. It's really great.
Funny?
Yes, it's also absurd. It's like Twin Peaks light.
Oh.
But like, very light. But.
Oh no! See, now you're backing off of it.
But it's very absurd.
So it's like that show Ed.
I never saw Ed. Yeah, what was the deal with Ed?
I don't know.
He owned a bowling alley or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
That guy like. I was like, oh, cool. I've never seen that actor before.
I don't remember anything about that show.
Yeah. Northern Exposure is Twin Peaks for Normies. Northern Exposure is great. Northern Exposure is Twin Peaks, not for edgelords. How's that? But I also love Twin Peaks. It's Twin Peaks, but it doesn't have all the violence and overt sex. It's just absurd. Yeah, I know.
But I want it.
I know. It's great.
You're just making me want to go home and watch Twin Peaks.
I know, man.
To be honest. Right. Yeah.
Twin Peaks without any of the fun stuff. Gosh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lines like, I'm just going to assume you're all criminals. Because let's be honest, you probably are. I was like, all right. But I mean, but he would say that to screw with him. Yep. Or because he believes it. Yeah, let's let them have the case. I don't want to get involved in any civil rights mix-up, you know? Let's go. Yeah, they're even like the subtitles let me catch stuff that it's barely audible, but someone was like, "You people are always lying."
Oh.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What if that wasn't in the movie and it's just the subtitle are fucking hardcore racist?
What's going on, man? Yeah. There was a line, gosh, there was a line. He's like, who else wants to kill one? You want to kill one?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, and then just parts where he's like, but like, and to their credit, this is how good the performances are. They played these things that like on paper are like, how do you say that?
Yeah.
And
there's a lot.
I go like,
yeah,
I believe you believe that, because he goes, he escaped. The guy gets away, and he goes, well, now we need another one. He goes, yeah, I know. It's like,
Yeah, they played that.
Because you just go
really
like, oh, you need another.
I really liked that second lead.
Yeah, I think they're both really great. And they're planting knives on people. It's just so goodness gracious. And it's the thing too is like it's like a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Thing. It's goodness gracious.
At one point, after they kill another person, he's like, "Do you have a knife on you?"
Yeah, I know. It's like that's just your.
No, you're out of knives.
Goodness gracious. Oh man. Yeah, he's like, "What's this here?" He's like, "I don't see nothing." But then he goes, "What's this here?" That guy, and he goes, "There's a dead guy right there." I was like,
can we talk about Walt from Lost?
I've never seen Lost. Who was Walt?
Oh. Well, Walt was a child. He was the child on the show.
Okay.
And now he's a grown man, and he's an adult, and he's in the movie. And
I'm on the edge of my seat.
And he's in the courtroom scene. He's the one who stands up and gets really pissed off.
Oh.
And storms out. It's good.
Yeah, it's good
performance.
Good scene, man. Yeah. Oh man, there was such a fucking John Krasinski comes in to defend him. I said
it was he had such a good performance, and it was absolutely how he came into the room that just made me cackle because I was not expecting it.
Kicks the door and you go, "It's Jim!"
He burst in like Kramer. Like I was just like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
There was just no other way to take it, but I was just like, "Oh, it's Jim trying to be serious." And then he was fantastic.
He was great. He was really good.
Fantastic in everything he does.
Including Leatherheads.
What is George Clooney's obsession with screwball comedies? We don't want them. Stop selling them.
I like screwball comedies, but I wasn't a big fan. I was not a fan of Leatherheads.
He's just all about them, and I'm like, you're putting so much money into these ideas. Go back to doing a good.
I wanted to see Suburbicon.
No, you don't.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Just when he's a male version of a hot chick. Just uses people. Oh, that's mean.
Did you not like Good Night, Good Luck?
Because that was hilarious.
I thought that was a hilarious movie. I thought that was a very good movie. I thought Confessions of a Dangerous Mind was a good
movie. That's to me. That's his best.
That was a good movie.
That movie's great.
Hilarious. Oh, dude. Have you seen Ad Astra yet?
Ain't one joke in it. He goes, "Dang, we're in a tight spot. I'm in a tight spot. Me, by myself."
This is so good.
I had to see
it's such a good movie.
The American.
Oh, no. I want to see The American.
It's what's his face? It's Anton.
It's Anton Corbijn.
Corbijn.
Yeah.
I was like, Yelkin.
And apparently, and it came out before I knew who Jean-Pierre Melville is, and but apparently The American is very much in the vein of a Jean-Pierre Melville film.
So I've not seen The American, but I want to
see it too.
I get the American confused with The Good German, which is weird.
Oh yeah, The Good German.
That one
was like a soda burp.
In one ear, out the other. Yeah. For me.
Nice.
The Samurai.
Nice. I'm a big Melville guy.
I wanted to. I wanted to ask about. There's a part in the movie. He's at the morgue. The dad's at the morgue. Mm-hmm. He's talking to that lady.
Mm-hmm.
The mortician, I guess, coroner. He's like, "You have kids?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, 2 boys. You gotta something stuff, saying stuff, just totally normal." And he's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I want to know if this struck anyone else," but she just goes, and he's just sitting there like that, and she just goes, "Well, I can see you want to get back there."
Yeah, I rewinded it because I was like, "What the fuck did you just?"
I was like, "Yeah," because I was like, and that didn't come off as racism to me, but it was like, "Well, I'm a little uncomfortable. Let's go. We gotta." You know what I mean?
I just that read as a very truthful thing to be said.
Yeah.
When you fucked up the line, and I mean in life.
Oh yeah.
You're like, she's walking to the morgue door, being like, "I didn't say that one right."
This is such an interesting thing.
But I because I had to rewatch it twice because I didn't catch it the first time. I was like, I thought that's what she said, but that's weird. And then they hold on him.
And he goes,
and he's just like,
sure.
Yeah. And I just thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah. It was such a weird.
It was weird.
Kind of real life thing.
And I loved it because of that. It was that felt very real to me.
But it was so interesting. And honestly, it was interesting because of its weird authenticity.
Yes.
Where there's not a ton of that in this movie.
Yes. That's what's so crazy about this movie is like it is presented in such an authentic way on a technical level. The performances are there.
You just feel the script working.
And it's just that damn script.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively issues I have with Kathryn Bigelow are on the writing level.
Mm-hmm.
It's all script stuff. Because she can direct like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm. There were pacing issues for me in this, but yeah. But I don't know. But I mean, that might be in the script too. So.
Yeah, I mean script, and also I'm like, well, it's a historical. Are you talking like the shift to the 45 minutes left?
No, I'm just talking about sort of the stuff that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Where it just stuff felt like hammered in.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I think it was more than just the. But anyway.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Okay. But
anyway,
I still I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, me too.
I've now seen every single Kathryn Bigelow movie except for
the first one, the
very
the biker
first,
one with freaking Willem Dafoe, which we're gonna do next week. No, we're not. But I want to.
I just refuse to do it.
I quit.
I'm out of here. I have a deep place in my heart for Bigelow now.
That's not Willem Dafoe's first role.
Whoa.
That's not.
Can we do audition next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
We need to talk about what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I want to do both Suspiria.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Because that eats up 2 slots.
No, I mean.
What are you doing?
Yeah. No, I want to do them both in one go. 1 slot. 2 Suspirias.
Crazy.
2 Suspirias, 1 cup.
This guy doesn't know what he's getting into.
Are they really old?
He can't handle it.
He was uncredited in Heaven's Gate. That's true. Let's just do the Suspiria remake. Lobo, I will. Yeah, will I?
I didn't like it.
I like that Giallo, baby. No, I have no idea.
I love the remake. I adore. Let's do it. I mean, that's cool.
Let's do.
I don't.
Audition.
I'm not gonna watch it again, but.
Let's do audition. Week 2 we'll do Suspiria and Suspiria. Week 3 we'll do Let the Right One In and Let Me In. No, let's not do Let Me In. Let's do Let the Right One.
I want to do some 80s shit. I want to do some older shit. I want to do some shit I haven't seen.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
But the Suspiria remake, that's cool.
I want to do the
Have you
Witch.
not seen the remake?
Not.
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I really love it. Yeah. I need to buy it.
Here's the
I
thing.
have a cool poster for it, too.
Yeah.
Did I show it to you? I think I did.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You want to see it?
Okay, all right, man. It's really...
Did I tell you what I bought?
At Mondo? No. After Mondo?
I got a real problem.
Oh, boy.
So, one of my favorite Spielberg movies that no one seems to like is Empire of the Sun.
Exorcist 3 is scary, man. That movie scared me.
Oh, I have not seen that.
It's scary.
Is that the Schrader one?
I think it's Blatty.
We should do the Schrader, Rennie Harlan.
Yeah, it's Peter Blatty. I saw that movie. I saw that movie edited for TV at like 3:00 in the afternoon, and it still scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But still.
Okay.
Here's your Jacob's Ladder.
This is 4 feet by 6 feet.
Wow.
This is gonna take up a wall.
They misspelled it though.
I know they did.
No, that's freaking awesome.
I love this poster. I love this movie.
I know.
And this is like one of the best posters. Yeah. Especially because it's like an original print from the 80s. And I just love that poster.
Yeah. Empire of the Sun's great. Well, sorry. I don't remember Empire of the Sun at all.
It is so good, and no one remembers
John Malkovich
and Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah. Man.
It's such an interesting movie. I just think it's such a cool idea. It really captures. I was like, oh, it's World War II through the eyes of a child.
Have you heard the audio of Christian Bale as a child yelling at the sound recordist on Empire of the Sun?
Is that a thing?
No, it's just making
Oh.
I am. Look at me, I'm Batman. I want to be Batman. You don't believe me?
You fucking lights! Your fucking lights right now!
Oh, was it a gaffer he was yelling at?
Yeah, he was yelling at the DP.
Oh, that sucks. I mean, all of it sucks.
Yeah,
DP sucks, honestly, a little less.
There's no excuse. Well, you know what? I would have to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
Because maybe that DP really was fucking with the lights a lot, and I'd be like, you need to fuck it. And maybe they told him to stop. I don't, honestly, I would really need to know the circumstances.
I don't like listening. I have not listened to that. I've not listened. I think I did watch the David O. Russell. But
oh, that made me hate him. I think that's where my dislike, because I was just like, that's one where I'm like, I don't care what the circumstances are and the context of that situation.
But was
very uncalled for.
Wasn't there something where it turned out that was an acting exercise or something?
No.
Okay. Fair point. David O. Russell is a fantastic filmmaker, though. I like him a lot. I like his movies a lot. I like Three Kings a lot.
Yeah, what can I say? I watched a lot of Roman Polanski movies to this day, so I can't speak whatsoever. Have you ever seen The Tenant?
No.
I finally got around to watching it, and that is a fucking fantastic movie. And he stars in it. He's like the lead. And it's almost him the entire movie. He did one more. He has like a whole
ears off.
What?
He's just cutting people's ears off, like in Chinatown.
Oh, he cut noses.
Oh, because his nose. Sorry.
He's like, huh? Little kitty cat or...
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Agreed. Chinatown's just the best.
What was
Can we do a Polanski month and just not call it Polanski month?
We're gonna do I found all these movies in a bag month.
He's got so many good movies. Ugh.
Yeah, we'd have to. No, I think we would have to do it. Yeah, we'd do it. So I watched the Between Two Ferns movie.
Me too.
And right before I turned it on, I was like, "This isn't gonna work."
I thought it was very funny.
But the parts
when it was the web show.
Yeah, totally. And I go this is like the only movie that's ever done this well is Wayne's World. Wayne's World is the only movie that's ever taken a show that is not narrative and turned it into that. Penelope Spheres pulled off magic, but I did laugh. I think it was that movie where he's like, you want to see Vincent Van Gogh answering a phone? Was that was in that?
I don't know if it was in the movie.
Maybe it was something.
Sounds
else.
Like a Galifianakis.
Where he goes, he's like do an impression of Vincent Van Gogh answering his phone, and he goes, oh, sorry.
It's great.
It's great.
It's great.
It's really great. What about It's Pat? Well, It's Pat wasn't a talk show.
Have you ever seen?
It's time for androgyny.
I started watching.
That thing.
A lot of Martin Short's Jiminy Glick.
That hasn't aged well. I've never seen Jiminy Glick.
Oh, dude. And I didn't know that he made a movie too, and apparently it's awful. It's awful. Because I didn't realize, I was like, oh, Jiminy Glick is between two ferns.
Is it?
Like, that's what that show is.
He's just an asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny.
Mudbank! How you doing? You don't have nothing to contribute, surely. I mean, you just contributed. Hey, how you doing? Did you go to TwitchCon? How you doing? I've never seen Jiminy Glick. I've never seen the Larry Sanders Show either. I know. Oh no.
I'll give it to you.
All of it?
I've got it on DVD.
Give it to me.
Because they finally put it up on HBO to stream, so I can just stream it, and then I've got them all on DVD. Oh yeah!
Oh, is that Harry Shearer?
Yeah, I loved that. They're the synchronized swimmers. Oh, that's so good.
What he says, we'll watch a movie and finally have something to talk about. Yeah! Well, hey, we're doing scary movies for October, so feel free.
Like, honestly, I would put Larry Sanders equal to Seinfeld.
And that's one of the great 90s shows that like is like somehow both thoroughly universally revered and also incredibly underrated in the sense that no one really ever thinks about it. Dream On. You ever see Dream On?
No.
Dream On was just a sitcom on HBO that was an excuse for boobs, I feel like. It was like, what if it was a sitcom, but it had nudity in it? And that's like as far as I don't remember. I'll take a show. No, T-Con. Yeah, me either. Spent your B-day on a different mini vacay with husband. I wish the last word had also rhymed with A. Spent B-day on a different vacay. Yeah, awesome. Did I go this year? I did not go this year. Larry Sanders also spawned a few ripoffs. Arliss and the Chris Isaac Show. Yeah.
And 30 Rock.
Herman's Head. That had Sam Kinison in it. 30 Rock is a Larry Sanders ripoff?
Oh, for sure. It's like the same show.
30 Rock is a Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip ripoff.
Yeah. Did you ever see that?
No, not much of it. Peter Krause?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Was
it Peter Krause?
I can understand why any comedian would hate it, but I'm not a comedian, so I was like, yeah, it's Sorkin's version of 30 Rock, and it goes crazy dramatic at the end where it's just not it's not a funny show.
Yeah.
It's West Wing, but in SNL.
Saturday Night Live. Yeah. You're like, well, I don't know. Like
I liked it.
The dark underbelly of.
He throws in the Iraq War at the end. You're just like, what? You're like, what is happening? He's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's a hostage situation. You're like, what? Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And you're into it.
Oh my gosh. He's like, after this, it's the dark underbelly and inner workings of Hey Dude. It's like, all right, man. It's not. Why would? All right, whatever. Well, Chris Isaac. Yeah, there was a time where he was going to be like a.
Who's that?
Chris Isaac. Now I wanna fall in love. With you.
Is it songwriter, singer?
Yeah, I just had a stroke.
Yeah.
or baby did a bad thing.
Yeah.
Baby did a bad thing.
He had a show.
You ever love somebody so much to come and without breaking?
I don't know.
On the breaking too. Yeah, that song. He was a kind of like looked like a rockabilly dude. He's in Firewalk with Me, the movie, which you probably haven't seen. He had his own show. You would definitely recognize him.
I have seen it, so.
No, you probably haven't seen it. It's nothing you would. It's nothing you would. You were probably watching.
I've seen it.
Silence of the Lambs. Famously starred in Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me. Yes. You recognize that dude. And he like he gets out of it reasonably unscathed. He like does an all right job in Firewalk with Me. It's kind of like touch and go, but he's like
he's got that rockabilly look for sure.
Yeah, and he was a big music star, and then people were like, he's just so good looking. He's got to be a movie star. And then like, I don't know. But then he had his own show, which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the SWAT dudes in Silence of the Lambs. That sounds familiar. Yeah. Yeah, I love somebody so much, I tender heart was going to break into. I didn't think so. Literally Larry Sanders Show, except it's about his band.
Huh.
Interesting. It was on HBO, yeah. Yeah. Definitely never, ever saw it. But it looked like it was a sitcom with him, and I was like, that's a weirder thing to do with a singer than just putting him in a movie. It's a weirder thing to be like, you're a singer, carry this sitcom.
Yeah.
That's strange. That's very weird to me. But I don't know. Maybe it was good. It went on for a little while. That was around the time Eon Flux was coming on HBO.
Oh, my favorite movie?
No, the cartoon.
My favorite cartoon show?
Maybe. Liquid Television? MTV Liquid Television? The Max?
It was
Spawn?
So was it a comic, then a cartoon, then a movie?
Eon Flux? Eon Flux was definitely a cartoon. I don't know if it was I would assume it was
So next month, we're
the same artist as the Men in Black.
Home Improvement.
Yeah. Chris Isaac shows. Okay. What happened? I thought something.
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah.
Al Borland.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
Yeah. I was talking about Wilson the other day, and I was like, that dude could have been in a million movies, and I never would have known.
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah, that show that also had both Pamela Anderson and Carmen Electra on that show.
Carmen Electra was in it?
I thought she took over for. No, maybe not. Pamela Anderson took over for.
It was Pamela Anderson. She was at the beginning of the show,
and then it was
Lisa.
Lisa.
I don't know what her real name, her actor name is. I was in love with her.
Yeah. Oh. Didn't she end up like dating Al or something?
Oh, really?
Or like they
in the show?
They had like a thing, like they tried that or something.
That's like a season 8.
It was like a Daphne dating.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, Daphne dating Niles. That was
like a big thing.
That was a big thing.
Huge thing.
It was huge.
Did they get married?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
And they had a baby.
That's good.
It's great.
Dr. Crane.
Very good.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
That was very good.
Oh, thanks. As long as
Dr. Crane.
Yeah. Oh, we bought a something. It was a run by Fruitin. No, wait, that doesn't work.
It was a run by Fruitin.
It was a run by. Great, Mrs. Doubtfire. There you go.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, dearest, my puppets. Oh, dearest. I
love Frasier so much that David Hyde Pierce.
How much do you love?
David Hyde Pierce is one of the few actors that like I would love.
Yeah.
I would feel so honored to work with him.
Yeah.
I think he's that talented.
He's very good. Did you see that whatever Dinner Guest movie or whatever?
No, but I want to. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want to see him play it.
Yeah, Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah, he's in that. Yeah.
I love it when they go. Where he goes. Where he goes. She goes. Oh yeah, you guys. You should. Maybe we could bring the kids over and they can learn some stuff from you. He goes like, I don't know. He goes, no, I really think we should. He's like, She goes, no. He goes, I said no. So funny. I love that movie. And then he goes, he's like, oh, fuck my cock. It's the best. He's so great. But American Summer is fantastic. I love that movie. I laughed so hard at that movie. And I told...
I've only seen that one. I need to watch that again.
Oh, it's great. I watched it in a library with my wife and brother-in-law, and we laughed so hard that I kept having to open the door in this viewing room that we were watching it in. And I was wondering, I was concerned that I was going to disturb other people who were studying. And I told that exact story, and I've told you this, to one of the creators of Wet Hot American Summer. Started telling him that story.
I knew this sounded familiar.
Yeah, and he kind of started going like, I was like, I really love, and I remember this is it hurts, it burns every time.
It's Michael.
Did I tell you who it was? I didn't mean to. Who knows? Who knows who it was?
Just say it.
Yeah,
it was one of the Michaels.
And I was like,
Michael Show once.
Yeah, he was a very nice man, but I go. It would, and I'd never, because I don't care. Look, celebrities, they don't faze me. I interviewed tons of them. I'm really cool.
Uh-huh. What did he say to you?
It's true, except the really cool part.
Yeah, sure. What did he say to you?
All right, and so I went up to him. You know, he was speaking at Austin Film Festival, and people were lining up, and I was like, I don't do it, but like this time I got it, because I was just like, hey, I just wanted to say thanks. And
Did you do that?
Yeah, I just got.
Did you go? Hey.
Yeah, I got. Right. I just wanted to say, and this is the worst. This whole story is terrible, but this is the worst. I just wanted to say I'm like a really big fan of Wet Hot, and I just called it Wet Hot because I was like, that'll be cool. He'll know that I'm in the know. But if I just call it that, and then immediately as soon as I said it, I was like, it's so bad, so much worse. Came out of my mouth, and I go, oh, that was dumb. I thought that would be cool, but that wasn't cool. And it's so embarrassing even now to say it. I've told this story before, this exact story. And then I go...
You never told that
And he
part.
goes, oh, I did.
You kept that out
because
you're like, that stings. That
no.
still hurts my heart.
We can check the VOD. I did, but it's just you block it out. You block it out because it's so terrible. And then he goes, someone... We were telling embarrassing stories the other day, and I couldn't remember one. This is it. And then he goes, oh, cool, thanks. And he turned around, and I go, actually, and then he goes, and he did this, and bless him, because you know, and this is we talked about this, and last time it turned into a discussion about how celebrities live lives that we don't know, and they have to deal with so many people. But I was like, and he kind of went,
oh,
and I was like, oh, and I was like, I get it, but then I was like, but I've already said and
yeah,
and so I'm locked in.
Yeah, you got to do it.
I can't just go.
Yeah,
I mean, I could have.
But then you're that guy who's like, oh, I don't want to bother.
Yeah. And then I go, actually, the first time we watched it, and my brain just goes, it's a terrible story. Don't tell this story. And I go, but I can't already. And it's like this. And I'm going, and we, one time, and I just go, I just got to get through it. And I just go, we were in the library and we just like watched it. And we laughed really, really hard. And we didn't want to bother the other people. Just fucking see you later. It's just, what is terrible. Terrible.
Isn't that great when you think you've got it? And then like, it's like 2 seconds before you either have to present something or like share it with someone. Like you have to verbalize it into the universe, and it's not just an idea in your head anymore.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're like, it's like this warning sign that goes off 2 seconds before, and you're like, oh fuck, this is a terrible idea. Why did I think for months or weeks that I thought this was going to be a good story or a good idea, and then now I have to say it. And
now I got to pitch it. Now I got to pitch it. Yeah.
At me like this, and I don't know what to.
Yeah, and it's just an energetic thing almost. Like it just happens, and you go, I'm saying the words that earlier were good, but now they're bad, and now I'm thinking.
The mirror? You should practice it.
I wish I had. And then
what did he do at the end?
I just kind of was like, oh, cool, and he's like, yeah, cool, thanks, because from his perspective, I was going, I'm not.
He turned around and he went, fucking fans, Jesus Christ.
But then I went to the bathroom to cry and shit. And then I went up to the stall and took out and just went, and
right,
like you do.
You had to go into the handicapped stall because pull out your penis because it's so big. You had to be at the opposite end. You need a bigger stall.
I don't know what that means, but yeah. Right. And I wrap it around my neck like Bib Fortuna from Star Wars.
Take it out and plop against the wall like above you, and then kind of peel back onto your head.
Yeah. And go. I mean, panic attacks where you have to deliver ideas to an audience. Yeah, I've had those. Haha, so great. Haha. Had to let the poison out. Yeah. So then I go and I go to whatever, and then I'm sitting there. I've told you this too. And I hear a dude, so there's just this figure next to me. And then he goes, at the exact same time, he goes, it was me, and then farts as louder than I've ever heard any human being. Like I've never heard, it just went, grap! Like it just went, like a, like that kind of thing. He goes, and he said it was before he actually farted. And then he goes, it was me, fart! I was like, that. And then he went over and washed his hands. And I was like, that was hilarious. It's the funniest thing any human being's ever done is to in public be like, it was me, fart. So fucking funny. And then I go, that's, whoever that is a genius. And I zipped up my, I went, hurry, get back in there. And I fled whatever, and then went, zip, clunk, because you have to. And then,
what's that part?
That's like a safety. It's like a metal. It's and you go, bung, 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 bung. No. And then and I was like, I have to get a look at. And I saw the person as they were leaving, and it was David Wayne.
Shut up! You have not told that story.
I hate that. Well.
It really was David Wayne.
It was definitely 100% David Wayne, and I was like,
him going, "It was me."
Yeah, it's so funny, so funny.
Do you think David Wayne's fun to hang out with, or do you?
I think so.
Seems like a real neurotic dude, so I don't really know.
I bet David Wayne's fun. I think Michael Showalter would take one look at me and go,
Jesus, it's been a couple of years, but I still remember you.
No, and that makes
how's that library booth or wherever you were at?
Yeah, what was it?
Was it funny?
I remember exactly. See that story. I don't mean because that story makes it sound. That's why I don't like to say it because it sounds like, and we've talked about this. How it's like people just like, oh, look, I got a story about it.
Yeah, everybody knows. It's fine.
No, man. Yeah.
I would be. That's why I would never. I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle that kind of
That is a reverse Jim Carrey and Liar.
Because if you're a behind the scenes guy, you can still have some but you can still move among a crowd.
Yeah.
But you actors, I do not envy that. Where it's just hey.
Some actors. I'm fine.
You did that?
Yeah.
You did that thing?
Yeah.
So
Or they go, why, when you did this? Yeah.
You signed this?
Yeah.
With your mouth. What? No. It was me.
David Wayne, man. Just. Oh, man.
It was me.
It was really great. Really freaking great. I was like, man, he's done that before or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know, but that's what a brilliant, because he just made my day. And then I saw that it was David Wayne.
I'm going to do that next time.
Do it.
Because I've learned.
But you have to have the best, most sonorous fart.
I usually have some pretty big ones.
All right, man.
I can hold them.
Have you guys
broken the fart barrier?
Good. Wait, she hasn't?
No. She says she has, but I'm like, I haven't heard it. She's like, well, I did. I'm like,
You guys got to fart in front of each other. You got to fart in each other's faces.
it took like 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Too long.
No, I'm just saying.
And it's still something I don't like. I've got them in the chamber, but I hold off.
Dude.
I know. I
you
do
gotta,
it now. Now I do it for immediate, like, comedic effect.
You got to wait till she's reading something on the couch.
Well, like I did it last night.
You climb up.
Last night I did. She said something, and it was like a jokey, like to make, or it was like 2 nights ago to like make me mad. And I was like, oh yeah, do you know what I think about that? And then I just let one out, and it was big.
That's really funny.
And it was great.
Good for you.
It was very funny.
Good for you.
I felt very good about it.
It's a moment you shared.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lover said he shits in front of Mrs. Brown.
Not,
yeah, we're not there. I don't think I'm ever gonna be there.
Not like in front of her pointedly, like not on the floor.
Do you like?
Like I don't go.
You're like,
hey,
look at me.
Hey,
I'm making brown.
Come
I'm making something.
Sit with the door open. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And then we should come in and talk to me, and I'll go in and talk to her.
Why?
Because we like each other. We got to talk about stuff.
Why pooping?
Yeah, man. Takes me a long time. I'm out of commission
I
for
like
it.
the privacy. I'm like, it gets a little alone time.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So I don't think I want to break that barrier.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying.
It's not cool to walk in on me. Like, it's my time.
Yeah, I mean. But you got to fart. Oh, you did.
I did.
You got to
It's not a big deal.
You got to like get, see, here's the thing. It's like an act. You got to get her out of her shell. You got to like climb up on this. So like she's there, she's like reading, and then like here's the like edge of the couch, the back of the couch.
Yeah.
So like put 1 foot here, 1 foot there, squat down, and she goes, what fart in her mouth, and then she'll be so fucking angry that'll be all gone, and she's just like it's coming, motherfucker. Yeah.
Is this something that happened?
No. What? No, dude.
This is that thing where I'm like, well, it's so specific that it has to be true.
No. And then then she'll like one day you'll be like asleep, and then you just feel like and you wake up and she's got a handful of shit, and she's like, "This is me," and then you're just like, "Yeah," and then you're ready.
Oh man! And then you got married after that?
This didn't happen to me.
Yeah, that's true. This is like the Detroit of fart stories.
How so? I want to pick that reference apart. Because Mark Bull wrote it? Because Mark Bull editorialized? Mark Bull editorialized?
Yeah.
Because I editorialized Mark Bull.
One, but I'm not going to say it.
Good. I don't know. Good. Go for it.
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Remember that episode of Seinfeld where George talks about all of his clothes off?
Yeah.
Take on, and
I do that.
He takes a dump and he's like, yeah.
I definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
Absolutely.
If anyone
I take all
ever
my
tells
clothes
you
off when I
that
watch
they have
Seinfeld.
not pooped without clothes on, that's a dirty liar.
Or someone who hadn't lived.
Wait, have you done that in like a public restroom?
None of these stories are about me.
Low bro.
Don't call me that.
Low bro.
Don't you fucking call me that. Not you, Sean. Then he takes that dump at that bookstore and they force him to buy the book he took in with him.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
This one's been red flagged.
Okay. Well, hey.
We did it. Sayonara, Bigelow. Can I just give a quick review of K-19?
Yeah, please do.
It's pretty fucking rocking, and I really wish we had done it instead of Blue Steel.
I'm glad we did Blue Steel.
I'm not. I'm glad we did Way to Water, because that thing was fucking crazy. Blue Steel
was crazy.
Blue Steel was crazy.
I'm glad I saw Blue Steel.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that we did both those. You're right.
Yeah.
But, because, like, K-19 is a fun Hollywood 90s yarn. It feels like a 90s movie. It's not,
yeah. It's like 2000. What is it, 2005?
Probably like 2001-ish. It feels, maybe not. I don't know.
Let's see this.
It's got Harrison Ford doing an in and out Russian accent. You know?
Yeah, hey, I'm a Russian.
That's pretty accurate.
Thanks. Yeah, comrade.
Yeah.
It's like you got a K-19. Just fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never tell me the odds.
I didn't watch K-19, but I skipped around a bit just to check out the accents. Hilarious. And I ended up seeing the scene ripped straight from Das Boot, where he keeps telling them to make the sub go deeper, and Ford looks totally calm, and everyone else is sweating. Yeah. I feel like that's something you do in submarines to, like, test their metal. It's a little submarine humor. Like the scene in Das Boot when
Jürgen Prochnow
saying Taifa.
2002. Nice.
Cool.
Nailed it. Pretty much.
Is it pronounced Taifa? We must go Taifa. Do a character, like an over-the-top German accent.
Sure, I'll put it on mute for a second.
No, do it live.
All right. Do you want like military German, like tough guy German, or glow sticks club German?
Well, kind of both. I want an effeminate German Nazi who is telling. He's telling.
I feel qualified.
He's telling me to go deeper. And I want you to do that. Just do it.
No, I will not. He says it
with
the bold deadpan. Hocham, Tifa, and everyone else is shitting themselves.
Oh, then you just went to Sprockets.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that what I described was.
Das ist all. Das ist all. Yeah. That is all I can have to draw from. You know. Kiss das Boot. Really, that's I'm a dad.
How does it rank next to Boot? No. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's interesting because like it's a nuclear sub, and then they have like almost like essentially a nuclear meltdown. So it was like Chernobyl meets a submarine movie. It was very interesting. But I'm not still looking for Das Boot as Das Boot. And then, honestly, I'm a huge fan of Hunt for Red October, so I'd put that at number 2.
I have not seen Hunt for Red October. Yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we should do only films with October in the title.
Okay, well, first of all,
October Sky. Hunt for Red October.
Hunt for Red October. And then maybe we just make months, and then we do November Man.
Okay.
And then we do Born on the 4th of July.
Sounds good. All right. Okay. We're not looking for Hogan's Heroes, bro. Let's tighten it up a bit. All right.
I don't remember U571. Is it good?
I've never seen it.
I remember liking it, like they dock it, because I think they like get.
There's something about submarine movies where I guess I just went, I don't care, because I've never seen any of them.
That's so weird to me. Do you not like it? Does it freak you out?
No.
You just don't.
I just don't feel interested.
Yeah. You get a weird Tom Clancy thing that I think you apply to all submarine movies.
Taste?
See you later. It's just like he hit my 12-year-old heart like hard.
I don't know why.
He hit it.
I don't know why.
Right. In the aorta valve.
Why do I tiptoe around like I go like I don't want to tell the story that might make it seem like I think Michael Showalter's, and then I go, fuck Tom Clancy. I don't know why. I've never read a Tom Clancy book in my life.
They're good, man.
Not fair.
Do you want to know about machine
No.
guns in
Yeah, there you
detail?
go. Yeah,
Because there's chapters on them.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Harvey Keitel's in U-571. What?
Keitel on a sub novel.
I just remember it as it's the McConaughey sub movie, right?
Matthew McConaughey is in a submarine in a film.
Oh, cool. John Bon Jovi is in U-571. It's McConaughey though,
Bon
right?
Jovi, man, there was a time.
Dude, I might have to go
Moonlight
and
and
watch
Valentino. They were putting Bon Jovi in movies
Dude,
for a while.
have you ever seen? What else?
Moonlight and Valentino. There's a movie called. Is it Places in the? No, not Places in the Heart. Hearts. Something Heart. Chain. Something Heart. Hold on, John Bon Jovi. It's like Angelina Jolie was in it, and Ryan Phillippe before Angelina Jolie was all that big. I mean, is he also in Young Guns? Yeah, right. But he's not. He's nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song.
Dude, I totally forgot about this movie. This is a fantastic submarine movie.
What, U-571?
It's called Below.
Is that the one? Is that the heist one?
It's like a ghost one.
Oh.
It's so, I think.
Let's do submarine movies.
I would
love
to.
Not this month, but like
Next
coming
month?
up. Let's do like a.
I would love to.
We'll do like definitely Das Boot.
We should definitely do Below because I remember. Hold on, I'm reading it because Darren Aronofsky is involved in this.
Is that the one where they're trying to get like?
Yeah,
is it recent?
Co-written by Darren Aronofsky.
Is it recent? And they're trying to get like gold from a.
It's 2002, so not really, but.
Because there's that like stealing.
After they rescue a trio of survivors that include a nurse, Claire Page, from a British hospital ship sunk by the Nazis, the crew of the American U.S. submarine Tiger Shark comes to believe that their vessel is haunted. The unexpected death of their commander forces First Officer Lieutenant Bruce Greenwood, to take command, trying to avoid a German destroyer on the hunt for his ship, while investigating the series of mysterious incidents that are terrifying his crew. Yeah, I remember fucking loving this movie when I first saw it.
Yo, John Bon Jovi looks like Scott Glenn now. He has gotten old. I was like, who is that dude?
Oh, dude, he looks fantastic.
Okay.
He's a good looking man.
Well, so Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
What?
Claire. Sterling. That's Scott Glenn, right?
In what?
Sounds of the Lambs.
Oh, but it's been a long time since I've seen that. Right Stuff, man. That's right.
Yeah, we should do. Okay, so 4 submarine movies.
He's in National Lampoon's Pucked. Oh, sorry, I was telling Bon Jovi.
Das Boot, Hunt for Red October, Below.
Hunt for Red October, you would have to.
Best.
Plays himself in The West Wing. He's in Cry Wolf.
We could do The Enemy Below with Marlon Brando and Robert Mitchum.
Oh.
I've always wanted to see that.
Ooh.
There's also a Jude Law one that came out in 2014 called Black Sea.
That might be the one. That's the heist one.
Soon after losing his salvage job, formal naval assembles a Mississippi crew of Institute. Yeah.
It's supposed to be good. Or like,
yeah.
It looked cool.
Okay, I could do that. I can do that. And we could do 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Night of the Hunter is one of my favorite movies
Still never
of
seen that.
all
Gotta see
time.
that.
I've got a wonderful poster of it in my house of Robert Mitchum with his hands like this. Love, hate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's one of the most beautifully photographed movies, too. And it's just got a weird atmosphere to it. It's like a folk tale, but like a haunted folk tale. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing in it. I don't know a lot of Robert Mitchum. I really only know him from that movie. I've always wanted to see
Cape Fear?
Paul Schrader's Yakuza.
Dang, man. Let's do a Robert Mitchum month.
Yeah.
Let's do a Paul Schrader month.
Yes. That would be cool.
Cat people.
Just his directorial efforts.
Yeah.
Because he's written a lot of good shit.
Yeah, he has. We'll do just cat people.
4 times in a row. I don't know cat people. You excited for the Cats movie?
It'll be released. It'll definitely be released. I don't know, man. I saw that and I was like, oh man, what is gonna? I mean, like, weird.
Yeah.
But I mean,
weird.
I hope it is fantastic, and I hope it does gangbusters, and everyone gets it rubbed right back in their stupid faces. But also, it looks weird.
It's like go animated,
yeah,
or go with costumes, but don't live in that middle world.
Yeah.
And they're like, but that's where we like it.
Yeah.
Cool, guys.
Yeah. Out of the past.
We're gonna discuss what horror movies we're gonna do.
Oh, cool.
But we're gonna do Audition next week.
Tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, let's do that.
We gotta give him something.
Let's do Audition, bro.
Stop hitting me.
I don't. Shut up. You get back in your cage. I don't know.
This is what he gets like.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm flying back in next. Look at those posters. Gosh, these posters are so gorgeous. Robert Mitchum is such an interesting looking dude.
One eye is fully lower than the other.
Yeah, it's like sloth.
Yeah, it's what I've always noticed about him. I'm like, one eye is like
but he's also
a full eye lower.
But he's also just such a cool looking dude. Anyway, horror movie idea to do. What's up? Feel free to throw in recommendations in the Filmography channel on Discord. We may not do them, but we will consider them. Puppet Master series. Yeah. We don't have like a schlocky entry yet.
Let's go talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Guys, thank you so much. Lots of love. Thanks for joining us for my goodness gracious. What a we went big with Bigelow.
We're done. We're fucking done.
No,
We're
but
gonna end it
listen,
right on
but
that.
listen.
It.
I have more to tell you. Just one time I saw Without American Summer, and it was really cool. And
if you farted right now, it'd be great.
I know, it'd be great. Yeah. Okay. I've also had many conversations with famous people that went really well.
Name one.
Do you want? I'll start name dropping.
Name one.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Just do one.
I don't want to do it.
Just one.
I don't want to. Feels bad.
All right, just give me one. Whisper it in my ear.
Sam Rockwell.
There you go.
Thanks. You were so ready. You were waiting. Son of a. No, that one didn't. That was a structured conversation. Never. Shut up. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Sorry. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, we're just.
Up.
Love us. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want? I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm gonna name.
Okay, do it right now. Give me.
Not gonna do it.
Your
Not
top
gonna do it.
5.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah, top
Not
5.
gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Top 3.
Not gonna do it. Top 3.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman.
Oh.
All right, I'm done.
You need this.
I'm done.
Put it on your shoulder.
I just need it.
Charlie
I
Kaufman.
need it
That's cool.
here.
That's cool,
fine.
man. That's
fine.
really
Sorry.
cool.
Fine.
Who else you meet?
Never mind. Who cares? Soy, what's up? How you doing?
Did you meet
we're
everybody
leaving.
from Confessions of a Dangerous Mind?
No.
Who else you meet?
I want to. I'm going to turn this off and I will tell you.
You look like John Boyega.
I know.
I know.
I know. Ahoy, ahoy. Sorry, what were you playing? Sorry, you've been sowing seeds.
Whoa.
You can just tell me or not tell me that you've been having lots of sex. That's fine. That's totally fine. DS2. Oh, cool. Super fun. I mean, you know what I mean. Congratulations. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are ending. I don't know how it could mean anything else. I don't. You're hexing left and right. Wait, I don't know what that means.
Who's the third person?
Who's what third person?
That you interviewed.
I'm ending. Yeah, I'm sorry. You are taking seeds and putting them on dirt. Man, you got to quit with these euphemisms for boning people.
Matthew McConaughey?
No. All right, here we go. All right.
You think you're fucking cool?
No. Especially not now. Hey.
Somebody give me a shovel. So I can pick up all these names.
I don't like what I look like without a beard. It's okay. I didn't feel that way until my wife said she liked it better with a beard, and I said, "That's my face. That's my face you don't like."
I'll never not have some semblance of a beard.
Yeah.
It's a baby.
What would you look like without a beard?
I would look like a baby. I would look like a little baby.
You're supposed to have a plant pic on Discord. Tell me how much you think that plant is. If it's a picture of you having sex with someone, I'm going to be appropriately upset. Only appropriately.
I'm always amazed that you can shave so willy-nilly just for auditions.
I know.
That would be such a huge deal for me.
I know, man. It's a huge deal for me, bro.
Yeah, but then I see the next week you have a full beard.
I'm a freak. I don't know. It's all right, right?
It's very good.
Oh, that's really kind. I just feel like you have to just feel tired. You just sound tired.
Yeah.
The more tired you sound and the less you do anything.
Yeah,
the more
tired, put out, yeah.
Yeah. It's because we watched, I told you, we watched Secret Life of Pets, and he's a voice in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, I don't know. I don't know.
Is he just a ball of just gelatinous? Is he just a dog that just molds into the couch?
He's like a cattle dog whom they go to the country, and then there's like a cattle dog who's in charge of okay, and he just like, they're like, hey, cool, you're whatever, and he's like, and they're like, oh, nice to meet you, and he's like, okay, I don't know, and they're like, and they.
What's so crazy is that he had so much energy when he was younger, like in his performances.
But I think that
like it's a weird. Like he just got
grumpy.
It's
definitely true.
And he got grumpy in his performances.
But I think now they cast him that way because there was this really charming, and I think I said this before. There's this behind the scenes interviews, and he was like, they didn't even want me to be a tough guy. I'm not I'm not a tough guy.
He seems befuddled a lot in his real
life. And the thing is, that's always been his charm, and I realized it only when he got old. I was like, oh, he's just always confused.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, get out of here. And you're like, he's like, get off my plane. How did you get here?
Dude, I gotta show you. There's a photo of him where I was just like, oh, he was like one of the most handsome dudes.
Sure, man. I mean, like, he's like a piece of leather. He's just like the toughest dude. His nose is like broken, but he's just.
This is what he looked like.
And he always has that like.
This is what.
He has this look on his face where he's like.
Not here.
Confused.
And this is him not in a movie.
I didn't maybe do a good. Oh, look at that.
Look at that style.
Oh my gosh, that looks exactly like. That's crazy. Harrison Ford. I gotta find that picture. It looks exactly like my uncle.
Really?
Yeah.
He's gonna love that then.
Yeah.
That's an ultimate combo.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. Look how handsome he was.
Anthony Ingrew does a dead-on Harrison
Ford
impression on YouTube. Maybe Emmelach. Yeah. It's Harrison Ford. Yeah. Newsflash: Harrison Ford is cool. He's very cool. I don't know why that pretending that bothers me. It doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me, Whoa! How much do you think that plant's worth?
Like, what is that? Like money? Like real money?
Yeah.
What?
Think that I would pay for that? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, how much in money do you think that's worth? He said it's rare. Looks like a Venus pitcher plant.
$1,000.
I'm gonna say 200 and. I'm supposed to do $999.99. I'm gonna say
do $1. $1, Bob.
Yeah, why does that work?
I don't know why that works. I don't know why that works. Like, I've always wanted to ask that. I was like, $1, Bob? It's because you can't go over.
Yeah. I'm going to say $239. Let's see this dead-on Harrison Ford impression. You can tell you're doing a good Harrison Ford impression when someone goes, here's a good Harrison Ford impression.
Yeah. 2 million
you
views.
seem to be wanting to do a Harrison Ford impression. Let me show you.
Han Solo, I'm Captain of the Millennium Falcon. Courier tells me you're looking for a passage to the Alderaan system. A fast ship? You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. I've outrun Imperial starships. Not the regular Balkan cruisers, mind you. I'm talking about the big Corellian ships now. Just fast enough for the old man.
I mean, I think he looks like him, and I think he's watched the movie a lot, and he's saying the lines like him. I don't think that's great.
You think he looks like him? I don't even think he looks like him.
I think it looks like him in a look-alike kind of way. Sorry, man. Sorry. Turn it off.
I thought that was terrible.
It was about 50. I don't think it was that great. Severely overestimating your paychecks. It was about $50. Gotcha. Just like the first search result. That's not a good one. Okay. All right. I don't know. You're all about this Anthony Ingruber thing. This dude. You're all about him. And I get you. I get that you stan. You know, have you heard that?
Sorry, I'm just looking at a lot of Harrison Ford pictures.
Sure, I get you.
Just a handsome dude.
Black and white. As you can see, it's quite spectacular. Yes. It looks very... Did Georgia O'Keeffe grow that plant?
I'm out of here.
What?
I don't have time for this.
What? Because it looks
Is that where we're at now?
I mean, it's what it looks like. No, it's pretty... Yeah, spectacular. Very... Looks like red and engorged. Talk about doing a filmography on the Tremors series. I feel like... Is it you always? Because that's been recommended several times. We can do a Tremors month. Next month. No, we can't do that.
We're doing submarine movies. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. He was in a movie with Harrison Ford where he played a younger version of his character. So he's like, suck him. Fair point. Was it it was Adeline, Age of Adeline, wasn't it? I saw that
I feel
movie.
like you're going in and out of your Harrison Ford. You just did it right then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just because I just have a Harrison Ford essence.
Yeah, natural muskiness to you.
Yeah. But I saw Age of Adeline. It went like this. Did you see Age of Adeline?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's a movie where Harrison Ford plays a guy who, yeah. We've not done Tim Burton. We have to do Maniac Cop. I would love to watch Maniac Cop.
What is that?
It's about a Maniac Cop. I don't know. Really.
What about Hollywood Cop?
A movie called Hollywood Cop? You mean Hollywood Homicide?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted to see that.
Me too.
I didn't see it. Is it good? You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Age of Adeline is this movie where Blake Lively is a woman who does not age. It's called The Age of Adeline. And I go, shut up. Because it's like Age of Adeline because it's an age of her because she exists. She lives over an age, over like an entire era. It's like Era of Adeline. But they called it Age of Adeline because her age doesn't change. And I go, just eat all.
That's great. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a fair amount of blow, and then I came up with that title.
That's
and I crushed it.
All right.
And then I got a raise, and I got promoted, and now I run the studio.
And then it's about this woman, and she has a.
Oh, I don't care.
Hold on, she has a.
I don't need this one.
I'm building to it. I'm building to it.
Okay.
She has a romance with young Harrison Ford that they keep flashing back to, and it's this guy, I guess. and then she keeps living, and goes away because she's like, I gotta leave before you realize that I don't just look good. I'm not aging. She's not a vampire. Okay. It'd be really funny if she was a vampire at the end, because it's this big sweeping love story. Then she meets another dude decades later, falls in love with him. And they fall in love. He's like, cool, come meet my folks. And his dad is Harrison Ford, and it's Harrison Ford who had, and he's like, he's married and he's had a child. And he's like, Adeline. He goes, here, Adeline. It's nice to meet you. You go, oh, he's just him. He's always confused. And then,
what year is this?
It's not long ago. And then it's Blake Lively. Age of Blake Lively. It's the era of Blake Lively. And then he kind of and then he sees her walk out, and he's like, Adeline. Adeline. Adeline.
This movie has Harrison Ford in it?
Yep.
And they didn't put him on the cover?
Yeah, he's
has Ellen Burstyn in it?
Big part of it.
Okay.
Definitely 571. Cool.
Doesn't sound great.
I didn't enjoy it very much. I was like, I don't know. It was, I don't know. Whenever you go like, oh, it's like Benjamin Button, you're like,
your Harrison Ford sounds like he wears a lot of Depends.
Well, it depends on the day. Hey, kid, look. Hey.
Stop.
Wait, hold on.
Stop it. Stop doing that.
1 second. Laser swords and hokey religions are no match for a good diaper in your pants. All right. See you guys. Lots of love, guys, and I'll see you later. And next month, I'll be flying back on the same day, but I'm flying back early that morning, so I think we should be able to do it.
Good luck. It's gonna be on Tuesday, everybody.
No, it's not. It can't be. All right, we're watching Audition, and we're gonna watch it. Don't whatever I'm doing. And you're going to love it because he's a director and I'm an actor. And we're going to talk about auditions. We're going to start with my worst audition. And you're going to talk about...
Guys, he's clay facing.
All right. See you guys later. And we'll see you later. Lots of love, guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us for all of Kathryn Bigelow month. Thank you, Ms. Bigelow, for your hard work.
Oh yeah,
and
thanks.
all your shaky cam.
Thanks, Kathryn Bigelow.
And
we watched almost all your movies.
Yeah, man.
I watched almost all of them except for one.
The only two I haven't seen, I guess, are U571 and Willem Dafoe Rides a Bike.
U571.
K-19, same thing.
Yeah.
I constantly think those are the same movies. I literally do not know the difference. Except one of them has... Yeah, all right. See you guys later. Lots of love, and I'll see you later. It's a shame I'll never watch another Kathryn Bigelow movie again. Goodness. Don't let us put you off of... All right. Thanks, guys. Lots of love. See you next week.